Oh, you know what I love?
Sports.
Love sports.
Sports.
When it comes to Texas A&M,
Where are you getting this information?
Let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
It's here. It's time. There's always a buzz in the air when you hit this moment.
He is a guy that has gotten better and better and better. He's just got that dog in him.
We will develop men. We will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
I think of him as this hawk. Before long, he's going to be swooping in on those quarterbacks.
And they embody what the school is about. It's about getting into hard situations and getting ourselves out. It's about working hard. It's about doing amazing things.
And this is a real program. It's not fake. This is a real place. And if you want to be really good at football, this is a really good place to be.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
Game day vibes. Texas A&M baseball, number 3 in the SEC versus
Number 1 in your heart.
Oh, they've been number 1 forever, even when they're bad. Versus Auburn.
Okay, it was a heck of a series when they played.
Yes, it was.
Maybe A&M can even it up tonight.
I hope so. I need so. Auburn's really darn good, man.
Yeah, they are.
And did you see that?
So's A&M.
Florida keeps winning.
Yeah.
So we got to win.
I guess.
Didn't they run? Did they run rule Alabama? I don't know if it was run rule, but it was a beatdown. Yeah, it was a run rule. 13-3.
A&M still beat them in a series and finished ahead of them in the standings.
Yeah. Yep.
In my mind, of course, I'm not on the committee, but
Yep.
in my mind, that should guarantee A&M's ahead of Florida. But committees never do A&M much justice.
Did you hear Richard yesterday on the show, kind of explaining behind it? Just basically, the strength of schedule, the teams that they beat in the non-conference.
Who did they beat?
I don't remember, but I know A&M's strength of. Nick, see if you can help me remember this. I think Richard said A&M's strength of schedule in the non-conference was 210, I believe. Was that right? I feel like that was the number he said. And I believe
non-conference strength of schedule for A&M right now, so it's changed since he updated us, but they're 207th in the country right now. Florida is 27th. Florida's overall strength of schedule is 3, A&M 16th, and Florida's 9th in the RPI, A&M 12th currently.
But A&M beat them.
And finished
on the road
and finished ahead of them in the standings.
See, I think they should allow us to talk to the committee and just,
Well, supposedly somebody's supposed to, in the committee, they're supposed to be able to just know that stuff. But it's interesting because the strength of schedule a lot of times doesn't seem to matter in some sports, and others, I guess it does.
I'll ask Bronny later, Richard and Scott Clendenin, what would happen? Because I think the only way, and Nick, tell me if the bracket works out like this, for A&M and Florida to play each other in the SEC tournament, it would be in the championship game?
Yeah, it'd have to be in the finals.
So what would happen if both teams went that far?
Well, if Florida won, then they'd be 2-2, I guess.
And they have the SEC championship and the higher RPI.
So then I probably would.
And the higher strength of schedule.
Have as much of a complaint, even though.
But that would be 3 more A&M wins or 2 more A&M wins too.
I quit trying a long time ago to figure out committees.
You don't go to those meetings.
When I stopped hating, when I started really hating committees.
Notre Dame 2020.
No, even before that.
Okay.
It was BCS, and all that stuff, which I guess was computers, but just the whole aspect of college footballs and postseasons when Oklahoma got curb stomped in the Big 12 championship game by Kansas State. I think this was this might have been 2002. No, I don't know. It was the early 2000s. I mean, they got curb stomped by Kansas State and still got to play. I think maybe it was 2004, and still got to play in the national championship game against LSU.
Right.
And it should have been USC and LSU. I mean, they got beat something like 35-7. I mean, it was a complete domination. And they say, yeah, but Oklahoma still's going to play. You know, college sports when it comes to the, and then when they started getting to the committees, yes, A&M in 2020, that was ridiculous. There's been others. So yeah, I have no faith in committees.
Yeah.
I'm just saying the way I think it ought to be. If you have two teams that you're trying to say which one's 8 and which one's 9, and you say, oh, they played, and this team won and finished higher in its conference standings. To me, nothing else should matter.
I tend to agree with you.
Because if we don't know if A&M had played Florida's non-conference schedule,
how they would have done?
We don't know how they would have done, but we know what would happen if A&M plays at Florida in a 3-game series. We know what happens because we saw it happen.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm done.
You do get a little worked up on this topic.
Certain topics really. When we get away from common sense, right? Like those that were mad because Notre Dame didn't get in.
Miami did.
Over Miami. I'm like, they played. What happened, and there was the Alabama fans who were saying, well, we should have been in like 2 years ago. What happens on the field has to matter. If it doesn't matter, why are we doing it?
What are other things that get you riled up?
I don't know. Sometimes I forget that they rile me up until they come back.
They come back? Like no conference championship games riles you up?
Yeah, and I think that's inevitable. That's going to, what they'll do is they'll say, oh, we're going to crown a conference champion by the standings, which would be fine if everybody played each other, but they don't.
Yeah.
So you're going to have, I guarantee you, when the SEC says, oh, wait, we're going to crown a conference champion by the standings, there's going to be a 3-way tie or even more where nobody played each other.
Yep.
And then you say, well, how are you going to decide the champion? We're going to have tri-champions. Thought we got away from that when we got out of the Big 12. Anyway.
There's a gentleman on the YouTube page, Aggie, beat the hell out of 12, says, can we get a thumbs up from the TexAgs staff? He might be a new one because I don't think I've seen him comment before, gig him. So let's do 3 things we want to see.
Okay.
What are the 3 things you want to see this weekend?
Okay. I want to see a really good performance from the starting pitcher. 5 innings.
Give me 5.
Give me 5 innings.
I got 5 on it.
5 strong innings, right?
Yep.
I want to see a lot of home runs by the A&M. Seems like for them,
that's the recipe. They win.
They're quite capable. And then I guess I want to see. I'm going to get greedy. I want 5 good innings from a starter, and then I want to see a good middle relief.
Yeah,
because I think I can pretty much count on fresh corn.
Yeah, you got that.
But if I
Gavin Lyons for the most part,
if I can get to the 8th inning,
you feel good.
I feel like I'm going to win.
All right, how about this? I want to see Darden throwing darts. Very similar, okay? Like just put A&M in position. I want to see the health of the team continue to get better. That might mean a little bit more movement from Chris Hakopian. That might mean Nico Partita, although I think I would be surprised to see him play today. I don't know if they've got new intel on that, but just I don't know how yesterday went. I think they're going to be a little cautious because obviously what matters is what happens next week and beyond. But hopefully the direction of the health going. And just give me like the big 3, giving me big 3 bombs, right? Hakopian, Gavin Sorrell, all going yard today.
Along those lines, I would also like to see Jordan Wilson get back into it. It's been a few games since he's left the yard.
Yeah.
So
the pitcher going for Auburn today is the one who looked really good against A&M a few weeks back. So didn't he pitch a complete game in that game, Nick?
Yeah, that is what I was going to bring up, actually. Andres Alvarez started game 1, and he pitched a 7-inning complete game because it was a 18-5 run rule win for Auburn. But, yeah, he looked really good. So it's going to be a tall task for A&M. And remember, this Auburn pitching staff doesn't walk people. They lead the country. I don't know if they still do, but they're tops in the country in terms of throwing strikes and limiting free passes. So it's going to be up to the Aggies to maybe have a little bit better approach this time around.
Another thing I want to see.
Good defense.
Yeah. Also, I'm going to see it. Has nothing to do with baseball. I'm going to see the Twins graduate here in a few
that's
hours.
Amazing. That's even better.
Shout out to Christian and Cruz.
Yeah.
I know they're probably still sleeping.
Great job, boys.
Yeah, it's weird in today's world. Seniors don't have to go to school very often. It's weird. Like, they've been off, it feels like, for 6 weeks. And I probably just got them suspended and they can't graduate now. But, like, I guess you can exempt your finals and you can exempt class and you can exempt life because they haven't gone to school this week. But they're going to graduation today. I think they went Monday.
Well, I don't know how it is here, but way back in, the olden days at White Oak High School, that last week was senior week.
Yeah, it was
we
senior
did all
week.
kinds of fun things, activities. They took us to
They did
Tyler State Park and Six Flags. And things.
They did some like watch the sunset thing. They've been doing stuff, but like I had to go to school. Like I feel like they don't have like yes, if you exempted a class, but like yeah, I don't have to be until noon, Dad. Huh? They do that? Because when I was going to school, you had to go. You just sat in a class just looking at the wall. There was no internet. There was no phone. You're just looking at the wall or falling asleep in class. They're like, I'll go at noon, Dad.
Yeah. Quinn had some of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm kind of jealous.
You know what they don't do in College Station that they don't have, or at least they didn't with Quinn, those classes where you can go and get college credit?
Oh, yeah. The boys are all over that.
Well,
they're almost sophomores in college.
They weren't offering that when Quinn was in.
Well, they weren't offering it for me.
Because I would have been pushing him in all that 100%, whether they liked it or not. Because that could have saved me a year of tuition.
Yeah. I think Christian's going to go in with like 26 hours, 27 hours already.
Yeah.
I don't know how it works for A&M, but that's what they have dual credit and AP classes. So they're in good position. Save us some money.
Either that or Quinn was lying to us all.
I think Quinn was lying. I think it was a thing.
I don't know. Things might have changed. I know my niece came to A&M and she already had like a year credit behind her.
Yep. Hey, this is TexAgs Live.
Brought to you by David Gardner's Jewelers.
Thank you for telling me that. We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio.
Yeah. Jason, Jackson, Keith, Morgan, and the men and women.
I wonder if they have a Tim that works there.
I bet you they do.
Yeah. And Tim.
I know they have I know Jason, he's married to Coach Jim Bird's daughter.
Okay.
From Troop High School.
Yeah.
Coach Edward Jasper.
That's right. That's exactly right. And we are right now calling this hour a name. We call it the Go Hour.
It's the Go Hour. It's brought to you the Warehouse CC Creations.
Currently sitting in our place.
Yes, it's the Holistic Planning Cool Zone.
We love making money.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It's great. So nice.
Can you ever have enough money?
Well, what do you think, Elon?
I mean, he has more than you can spend, but I'm sure he wants more.
Yeah. Yeah. If you want to be a part of the conversation, you can do it multiple ways. One way is to call us up on the Buppy's Catering and
Bartending
hotline, 979-693-1150. Or you can text that number and then we'll magically change the name
to the Catalyst.
Thank you.
Pure Performance Energy text line.
Same number, 979-693-1150. We already checked in with Nick Savage, but we're going to recheck to see if he's got anything else to provide. Any analysis, any factoids, any life things you want to discuss.
Yeah, well, Cade Bickham pointed it out to me when y'all were having the discussion about RPI, where Florida is. The reason their strength of schedule is so high is because they have series wins over Florida State and Miami, two really highly ranked in the RPI. Florida State had a 3-game set spaced out. They were all midweek games. Florida swept them, and then Miami series, they took 2 of 2 games they played. It was similar to the Texas series. For us, won the first 2, game 3 got canceled. So that's why Florida's non-conference schedule is looked upon so highly over A&M, which their biggest game was against UCLA. They dropped it, also dropped a non-conference game against Texas State. So that's kind of where that argument is coming from.
Middle of the week games mean little to nothing to me. Look, I'll say it again. What if A&M had played Florida State or Miami? They might have won. We don't know.
We don't know.
But you know what we do know?
A&M beat Florida in Gainesville.
Twice.
And I will say this, you're looking at the latest D1 top 16 national seed projections. there was no change from what they put out last week. So I think momentum is just building for Florida. But again, nothing they project yet.
This question may actually hurt my argument.
Uh-oh.
But I wonder between A&M and Florida, who played a tougher conference schedule?
I think Florida.
Did they?
I don't know. I just made that up.
I don't know. I know Texas. I know
think
A&M
I heard
played Texas and Georgia. I'm sure Florida played Georgia.
I think I heard that.
Okay.
But I could be wrong. But sometimes you just say things.
So they drew South Carolina at Alabama. They got swept there. They swept South Carolina at Arkansas, swept Arkansas. Ole Miss lost the series at home. This is a big one. They won the series at Georgia, so that's a big-time win. They lost the series to Auburn, lost the series to A&M, beat Oklahoma, beat Kentucky, beat LSU.
So they did not play Missouri, but they did get South Carolina.
So I'm not sure that, from what he just told me, I'm not sure that they necessarily played a tougher conference schedule than A&M did.
Beating Georgia's pretty, and Oklahoma, 2 series that you lost.
Yeah, but they didn't play Texas.
They didn't play Texas. And A&M beat Florida.
And A&M beat Florida.
Anyway, let's go check in at the Angry Elephant News. And Social Center Matthew Coughlin is in the house making his debut. Mr. Coughlin, how are you, sir?
I'm great, David. How are you?
Good. Talk to us. What brings you to TexAgs?
Well, I haven't been an Aggie for long. This was just year 3 of being an Aggie fan, but I was lucky enough to get an apartment right around the corner, and every day on my way to school, I'd see the TexAgs building. My roommate would point out to me, like, hey, that's TexAgs. They're huge. So I started reading the articles and got to know a lot about TexAgs, and that's really what I learned about A&M sports right there. And then it drew me to this.
Well, we're happy to have you here, man. What do you have for us this morning?
Well, we got a lot of good stuff, kind of a stacked slate. But we'll start with Aggie women's golf. Coach Jared Chadwell named the Women's Golf Coaches Association Central Region Coach of the Year, an absolute tongue twister. But Coach Chadwell will now become an automatic finalist for the National Coach of the Year, and that is mainly led by the number 4 ranking in the national, and as well as the program record tying 5 tournament wins this season.
Nicely done.
Very nicely done. I love that. Give us one more.
All right. The Savannah Bananas revenue for College Station report came out. This game was played on May 2nd, and it had a very positive impact on the city of College Station, worth $21 million. The attendance over 102,000, brought in $8 million for lodging, $4.35 for restaurants, and revenue for Texas A&M University north of $3.5 million.
So that pretty good.
I think it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should do more.
Yeah, more bananas.
What else can we do? I mean,
they can play soccer.
Yeah, we've done that.
Soccer's
we're going to do that. Yeah, we're going to do that. What else?
Another concert.
Like who?
Morgan Wallen.
Sounds great to me. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Parker McCullough maybe can open for them. That'd be great. What about something that's not music, not bananas, not soccer? The UFC.
Oh, hey, people like it.
Right?
Yeah. Maybe David Nuño can make his UFC debut.
I'm out of commission for a couple of weeks.
Well, yeah, they can put it off.
Yeah, I mean, that Aggie Facts guy that said he would have tangled with me if we paid him. Now maybe we can afford his NIL, and I'll do it. I'll do it blindfolded.
We could get you to fight that Umlung guy.
Which guy?
At Texas, Unplugged.
Yes, I would. Okay, I wouldn't be completely blindfolded like Jared Double style.
I would actually pay for that.
One eye. I'll do it with an eye patch, like a pirate.
I would pay to see
Well, how much would you pay him? Because I'll do it for free.
Okay, I'd pay him.
Okay, good.
Come over here and take your ass.
So he did say we'd have to pay him, so we can get an NIL fund for that.
I would pay it.
Yeah. And then if I win, I take over his Twitter account, which apparently has happened a few times. Anyway, let's talk 1775, shall we?
Let's do.
We could take enemies to 1775. We could take friends to 1775 because 1775 is about building relationships, OB.
Yeah.
Or just building your stomach.
Yeah, I've done too much of that. That relationship between my taste buds and my stomach. 1775 takes care of both.
Yeah, it does.
With that succulent brisket and those amazing pork ribs and the jalapeno cheese sausage. I even like the turkey very much. In fact, I should probably eat more of it. And then the queso mac and cheese.
You know, now that I think about it, I see a big smile on your face right now. Like a big smile.
It's a big smile.
And I remember when you were talking about committees, you got very angry.
I get angry at committees.
So you should take a committee to 1775.
Maybe if they experience 1775, they say, hey, this is barbecue, Texas barbecue done the way it's supposed to be. Now, pull your head out of your collective butts and do rankings the way they're supposed to be done.
I visualized the collective part of that statement. It is 1775, txbbq.com, 979-492-6241. It's 1775.
It's good.
Collectively. Hey everyone, David Nuño here of TexAgs Live. I want to introduce you to the team at Holistic Planning. Got Jason Barber here, Taylor Pankratz, and also Paul Meredith. Jason, I want to start off with you. What really sets Holistic Planning apart from the others?
Yeah, so what makes us different is most financial advisors stop at investment management. On the other hand, Holistic Planning, we manage investments, taxes, and estate planning all on one team, all underneath one roof.
Now, Taylor, when everything is coordinated like that, it really helps the bottom line, doesn't it?
It really does. When your investments and taxes are working together, you stop leaving money on the table and keep more of what's yours.
Paul, Holistic Planning is trying to expand as well.
That's true. We just opened our Houston office, and we're looking for people who feel like their advisor isn't seeing the full picture, because that's exactly what we fix.
And Jason, there's other opportunities beyond that.
Definitely. If you're a financial advisor and you want to join the Holistic Planning team, we're looking to add 50 teams in the next 5 to 10 years. So check out holisticplanning.com/advisors.
All right, so if you want a team that actually coordinates everything, go to holisticplanning.com. Aggies, this one is worth it.
What's up, Ags? Marcel Reed here, and you're listening to the Go Hour with Nuño and OB on TexAgs Live.
As a reminder, the final segment of the program is brought to you by Double Dave's. That's at 10:50, but right now, caller number 12, 979-693-1150. We're going to hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or a large one-topping pizza from Double Dave's. They've been serving Aggieland since 1984 with your world-famous pizza and, of course, those world-famous pepperoni rolls. Reliable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click on doubledaves.com, and your favorites are on their way. OB.
Yeah.
Not only do we get credential requests for SEC Media Days in Tampa, which is going to be a great site.
Yeah, I like Tampa.
I'm looking forward to it. Also, you're leaving on Monday for the spring meetings.
Destin, Florida. Sandestin, to be exact.
Yeah, and there's some topics that are developing.
It's all going to be about the 1624 debate, and then about, well, what is that going to mean for conference champions? And, hey, how's that going to affect how a team like A&M might schedule? You see Indiana, no national champs, no disrespect, but not playing a challenging non-conference schedule.
Yep.
While Notre Dame did play two great teams, lost them both, and then did not get into the tournament. So you're going to have people saying, well, does it really matter if you play those challenging non-conference games? So, hey, Trev Alberts, would you in the future still want to schedule it, since you're playing 9 conference games, still want to play a Notre Dame or somebody of that ilk?
Right. Well, and another thing, I was listening to, who was it, Andy Staples and Ross Dellinger, and they're talking about, like, it is maybe a bigger topic this week if the SEC continues the dialogue about breaking away. Because this 16-2014 playoff is a moot point if the eventual plan is to break away anyway. And the Big Ten is now hinting that they are considering breaking away.
Now, if the Big Ten and the SEC breaks away together, it's viable because you're going to add a few along the way.
Yeah.
I guarantee it won't be
Florida State, Miami are going places.
Clemson, Notre Dame.
Texas Tech.
But I don't think that's feasible if it's just the SEC.
Yeah, but I was listening. I'm trying to think. There's $250 million that are going through the Deloitte money thing, whatever it's called. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's still $150 million of it is still being processed. So it hasn't been paid out just yet. And of that 250, 70% of the money is coming from the SEC and the Big Ten.
Yeah.
So the little boys they're in a different league.
Right. But if it's just 16 teams, I don't think that makes the impact on the.
No, it's just an SEC schedule. That's all it is.
Yeah. We're going to say, hey, we're going to claim an SEC champion. And if you say, and that's a national champion, the rest of the nation says, no, it's not.
Right.
And quite frankly, I would agree. You're the SEC champion.
What do you think is better for the middle tiers? Because the middle tier teams, okay, the Iowa States of the world, they have years that they're really good, right? There's no doubt about that. But financially, they cannot compete with the SEC and the Big Ten. But they want to be invited to the same playoffs. Right. Does it make sense to be invited to the same playoffs if they're ever? And right now, the haves and the have-nots are going to be even bigger. Or does it make sense to have your own league, your own conference, your own division, whatever? Cha-cha.
Look, some people play at the $100 tables. Some people play at the $50 tables. Some at the $5 tables. Well, they don't exist anymore. The $15 tables. And I would say...
They don't exist anymore?
It's hard to find a $5
Yeah, I don't think I can go gambling
then. So anyway, the point is that I think it's inevitable that the Big Ten, the SEC, and certain others are going to eventually break off, and that's going to be the Division I, and then the new Division I, and the new Division I AA will be all those other teams like Kansas State and Iowa State and Duke and North Carolina State, maybe North Carolina State get in, but you know what I'm talking about. And that way, Boise State finally has a chance to actually win a national championship.
I'm going to read a couple quotes, all right? And then we'll hit a break and check in with some text messages. Big Ten explores self-governance as College Sports Commission sputters, Congress action stalls. Ohio State athletic director stood outside the Big Ten media
Who's
desk.
that?
Ross Bjork, our buddy.
Oh, yeah, Ross Bjork.
And laid out his plan, or laid it out plainly, where he believes his conference, the biggest and richest in college sports, is headed if D.C. keeps stalling and the College Sports Commission continues to sputter. We cannot govern nationally right now. There are too many extenuating forces, so we need a subset at our conference, but we're still going to play each other, ? And then, this is on the heels of what, and this is Matt Hayes tweeted this, UGA President Jerry Moorhead with his comment. If we don't get federal legislation, in my opinion, we're going to have to do this conference by conference because we cannot allow the wild, wild west to continue any longer. I'm prepared next week in Destin to be ready to vote on creating an SEC mechanism and SEC rules.
Well, again, if the SEC and Big Ten get together and come up with something, everybody else will fall in line.
Yeah.
I say it this way. Let's say the SEC gets together and they say, okay, all SEC schools are going to follow these NIL rules. And we're going to put a salary cap and not pay more than $20 million to our athletes. Okay, $30 million. They're going to raise up $30 million to our athletes. Okay, and everybody says, yes, that's what we're going to do. And the Big Ten goes, and Texas Tech goes, yeah, that's great that you're doing that. We're paying $50 million whether you like it or not. Where do you think all the good players are going?
Texas Tech.
So you think the SEC is going to sit around and watch them all go to Texas Tech and the Big Ten?
That's why they need the Big Ten and the SEC.
That's what I said.
Yeah, that's why they need it. And then basically what's going to happen is it's not going to really be, it's going to be the SEC and Big Ten, yes, but it's going to be those who can and those who can't. And Miami can, Texas Tech can, Clemson kind of can, Florida State kind of can. Those guys are going to be in this little fake NFL 60-team world, however many teams, 50 teams. And then everybody else is going to play this. And they're going to play 10 conference games in that world.
I think they should. I think they should now.
Yeah, what a break. Let's find out what the people are thinking. Right now, we're talking about Rollo Insurance, headquartered right here on Highway 6 in College Station. Rollo Insurance Group shares our community values. They're an independent agency that works for you, not the shareholders. Join a team that really will make sure that you're taken care of in every way possible. When local matters hit home, like severe weather, regional economic shifts, Rollo agents understand and the impact firsthand because they live here as well. Their independence means they can recommend solutions from dozens of carriers based on what's best for you and not what's most profitable for them. That's why so many local families and businesses make Rollo Insurance their first call. The difference is real. Call them up, 888-44-ROLLO. That's 888-44-ROLLO, or go to rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs. That's rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs. I wish I had Olin here for it because he loves energy drinks. Catalyst Citrus Spark. This is one of the new flavors out there. Whether you're grinding through workouts, cramming for a test, or closing in on a deal or getting ready for TexAgs Live, you never know, right? Fast becoming the go-to fuel for Aggies everywhere. Zero sugar. I'm all in for that. Or synthetic sweeteners, no artificial colors or flavors. Catalyst delivers clean, high-performance energy with smooth, crisp taste that is never syrupy, designed for both health and hustle. You want to get going? You use this Catalyst right here. It's about pure energy and pure results. And what sets them apart? Packed with premium nootropics blended to boost focus, clarity, and mental stamina. I need this. I'm in, guys. I'm in. Plus, with plant-based caffeine, vitamin B12, B6, Catalyst supports metabolism and energy production, making it more than a drink. It's your lifestyle training partner. Built for competitors on the field, Catalyst fuels strength, focus, and pure results. Buy now at drinkcatalyst.com. That is drinkcatalyst.com. Train harder, think sharper, pure results. It's Catalyst. It is TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Go Hour, presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. For the record, I don't want to fight anyone. There's some texts coming in. There's nobody I want to fight. I go to these classes just in case. Does that make sense?
Yeah, if people want to believe that.
I don't want to fight a person. Now, if somebody put their hands on you, we're at an event, yeah, of course I'm ready to throw down. But or if they mess with my kids, of course, just like you would, just like anybody. I don't want to, dude, I love my face. I'm not trying to get beat up. Okay, let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. What do we got, Coughlin?
Well, the problem is you're going to be fighting pretty soon, and Trey and Shiner has your first bout ready for you. He says, since UFC was mentioned, El Nino Nuño versus Johnny I Need Football, I'll take the Cuban assassin.
No, I'm taking Johnny Football all day. I'm not taking me on anything, okay? Except people at TexAgs. That's it. Is there, are there any football or any football, baseball texts that have come in?
We have a baseball one for you.
Let's go.
So the A&M Florida host question is ridiculous in the opinion of TexAgs and Taylor. The question should be, does the overall RPI negate the head-to-head we won in Florida? If not, case closed.
I don't think it should, but I've made that point. You know what? Committees probably will disagree with me because they always do. But again, I'm always that, gosh, if there's only some way to differentiate these two teams. Oh, they played. And they were in the same conference.
Huh, what a concept.
Huh. And the same team finished higher in the same conference and beat the other team we're discussing. So to me, that should end the discussion. But I'm not on the committee, and if I was, they'd probably kick me off for that.
And I know that there are baseball guys listening right now, like, they don't get it. Yeah, we don't, because it doesn't make sense. Like, I understand the whole RP. I understand. But sometimes we have metrics to have metrics. How about the one metric that matters? Who won?
Who won? That should always be. Look, I like those metrics they talk about if the teams haven't played, or even if they were played and they split.
Right.
So then I like that. Use that to divide it. But the ultimate divider is head-to-head competition.
Right. And for instance, you could say, well, A&M's non-conference was not as hard as Florida's non-conference. That's fine. Okay. We're not talking about a team from the Big 12 or the Mountain West. We're talking about two teams that played each other in the same conference, and one team finished higher.
And beat that team. And let me say this.
And by the way, props to Florida's resurgence.
Yeah,
I mean, that's been fantastic.
I'm not saying that Florida is not worthy of the discussion. I'm just saying if they were having a discussion between Florida and, say, well, they also lost the series to Auburn. So if there was somebody else that, but they didn't win the series.
Was it Alabama that they beat? I believe they beat Alabama.
Okay, so if it was Georgia.
They beat Georgia, but they're not going to be head-to-head with Georgia.
No.
Yeah, all respect to them. But the fact of the matter is, You lost to A&M and finished lower than them in the standings. So and if it was reversed, I know TexAgs wouldn't like it, but if it was reversed, I would say, no, you lost. And, people say, oh, yeah, it's easy for you to say that now. But you've heard me say stuff like, look, A&M's doing some stuff in basketball. I don't like it.
Yeah.
So I don't mind calling some things out when I think A&M's wrong. But I think no matter who the teams are, if they've played and one team won, and there's a question of rankings or who's going to be where, the team that won in head-to-head competition should always get the edge, in my opinion.
If not, why play the freaking game?
Why?
As far as these national seed projections go, it is pretty. It is showing like that the head-to-head does matter because Florida does have the head-to-head over Florida State. They're ahead of them. A&M is still ahead of Florida. Auburn's ahead of A&M. I think Alabama. I'm not sure if Alabama beat Auburn or not. I'd have to go check on that, but. All of the teams that beat each other are ahead of each other.
We're saying this as a preemptive strike, though, because if the smoke is, hey, if Florida keeps winning and then A&M doesn't win, and I'm just saying, okay, if Florida wins the SEC tournament, okay, I guess I could see that argument.
Because then at least, and by beating A&M, because then they're 2-2 against each other.
Well, that's if A&M were to beat Auburn today. But let's say A&M lost today. Hopefully not. Okay. And Florida keeps winning. Then I see a compelling case if they were to get to the SEC championship game. They beat Georgia. That means they beat Georgia today or tomorrow, right? Mm-hmm. So that would make, I would hate it, but I would understand it more. As of today, I don't see it.
Well, I wonder if I saw North Carolina's projected number 4. I wonder how good their strength of schedule is.
I think Cade knows how to look things up on the internet. He's an internet looker-upper.
And then their non-conference strength of schedule. I mean, I don't know anything about North Carolina except they're called the Tar Heels and they wear a pretty shade of blue.
Yeah, it is a nice shade of blue. It's a very nice shade of blue. Cade
Kind of reminds me of the ocean.
North Carolina, their strength of schedule overall is 20th.
And A&M's was 16th, right?
A&M is 22nd.
Oh, okay.
North Carolina is 5th in the RPI, and then their non-conference RPI is 20th, and their non-conference strength of schedule is 101st. So it's not great, but it's still better than what A&M has in terms of non-conference. The two worst non-conference strength, or the 3 worst non-conference strength of schedules in the top 12 are A&M at 220, Georgia Tech, who's second in RPI at 224, and then Georgia at 251 non-conference strength of schedule.
But by the way,
shouldn't then Florida should be ahead of Georgia, right?
Well, Georgia won the SEC by so much.
But Florida beat them head-to-head, and if strength of schedules, their non-conference strength of schedules even weaker than A&M's.
Yeah.
But
look,
you're right. It's not the decision.
Yeah, they're not in the same pod, if you will, for the discussion's
case. You sound
case.
like the football
I know.
guys.
I think that way now. I'm part of the committee. I go to the meetings. But I'm sure on GatorsLive.com today, whatever the show is, they're advocating for Florida the way we're advocating for A&M. I see things through an A&M perspective, but I think I can also take a step back and be like, bro, they played each other.
Yeah. And if the situation was reversed, Florida people would be saying, but they played each other and we beat them.
Yeah. And we'd be like, man, we had such a great non-conference.
I wouldn't. Sometimes when you look, I'll give this. If A&M was 207 or whatever it was, they need to play a tougher schedule. Now you can play Houston, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now Houston wasn't very good, I don't think, this year.
Right, but they usually are pretty good.
Usually do. So when you schedule them, how do you know?
And they played UCLA. So
and got curb stomped, but they played them.
They played them. Anywho, let's hit a break, shall we?
Yeah.
All right. It's TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. When it comes to preserving your family story or your family ranch's story, your family business story, you should reach out to Chance McClain. If you're wondering, why would I preserve the story? Well, you want the future generations to know exactly about the land. You want the future generations to know about how your dad started the business, or maybe how he met your mom, or how your mom started doing whatever she's doing, right? Like, these stories should be able to stand the test of time, and that's what Heritage Films will do. 2-hour documentaries, Netflix style, for your family business, your family ranch. Call Chance McClain and his team up at 713-893-8341. That's 713-893-8341. Or check out yourheritagefilm.com. That is yourheritagefilm.com.
Everyone, David Nuño here for Allen Honda. Had a great conversation with them earlier today. John Allen's the owner. He's been here forever, and also their GM, Rusty Skinner, great guy. Wonderful conversation. They're super local. They're a family-owned dealership, not some massive auto group, and they treat their customers like family because they basically are family. They're Aggie alums. They love Aggie sports, and they've been serving the Brazos Valley with integrity, with passion, and commitment to excellence for over 50 years, which is very rare, by the way, for the independents because people trust them. And that's why they've been doing it for such a long time. Whether you're looking to buy, lease, or service your vehicle, you can count on them for transparent, no pressure experience that puts your needs first. And I can attest to it. Had a great conversation about my own situation with them. Their knowledgeable sales team will help you find the perfect Honda to fit your lifestyle, from fuel-efficient sedans to versatile SUVs. Leasing options are flexible and affordable, making it easy to drive the latest models with confidence. And when it comes to service, their certified technicians only use genuine Honda parts to keep your vehicle running at its best, whether it's routine maintenance for major repairs or whatever it may be. And we know that trust isn't given, it is earned, and that's why generations of local drivers right here in the Brazos Valley and Bryan College Station keep coming back to Allen Honda. As part of the community with Aggie spirit in their hearts, they are here to make everyone's visit wonderful. So visit their showroom or their service lane and find friendly, efficient, and memorable situations when you go to Allen Honda. Come see why so many College Station and Bryan drivers choose Allen Honda for their automotive needs, and remember, gig 'em.
Final segment of the Go Hour presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Do me a favor, read Braden and Austin's text, but I want to take it in parts. I'm going to tell you to pause after certain things. Obie, I want you and I to kind of chew on this because I think he heard something from me today and yesterday that's not what I said. So we're just going to evaluate, and if I need to look in the mirror and say my bad, I'll say my bad. All right?
Okay.
Let's go.
Start with the man in the mirror.
Enough.
Michael Jackson. Your guy.
Enough with the Texas Tech love, David.
Pause.
They're not an equal.
Have I given Texas Tech love?
I don't know why. I will say this. I admire
Cody Campbell.
Cody Campbell.
Yeah. I think what I was referring to is financially, they're one of the big dogs, right?
Yeah,
they're spending money. It's a fact. Yeah. Okay. So continue.
I think when you said that you're going to move the SEC and Big Ten, you started naming like Clemson, and then you said Texas Tech.
Yeah, because they can afford to play. They can afford to play.
Yeah, I talk about financial.
They can afford to play at the $100 table.
Yeah,
that's I think that's what they're.
That's what I mean. That's obvious what I was talking about.
Yeah,
obvious. But go ahead.
They were completely and totally irrelevant up until last year and got routed the only time they played a real team.
Pause. I'm not talking about like wins and losses here. I'm talking about the money to buy talent good enough to play at what I consider the ultimate 40 to 60 teams, whatever they end up deciding if they go that direction. Was that kind of obvious?
Yeah. And I'll say this.
I think A&M would have beat Texas Tech last year.
To this day, I believe that A&M should have been ranked 4th and Texas Tech 5th instead of vice versa.
Agree.
But I think BYU was pretty good.
Yeah.
Not great.
Yeah, but I think based on the way it is constructed right now, Texas Tech deserved a seat at the table. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all. Like, just like Indiana 2 years ago. I thought their schedule or their resume was a little bit but they deserved to be there at, what were they at that point, 11-1?
Yeah,
2 years ago?
I think 2 years ago.
Yeah, when they went to the playoffs the first time. All right, so continue.
Well, also, money doesn't buy everything because a $5 million quarterback might not even play for them this season. But comparing us to them yesterday by saying, what if Brady called us a community college was wild.
I saw that Tom Brady said
Yeah,
something.
we talked about it on the show, and I just made it like, to us, it was what I was saying. It was funny to hear another school, but had they said it about us,
Yeah,
we would have been
angry.
defensive, right? Like,
Yeah.
so I understand Texas Tech being angry about it. Thank goodness it wasn't about A&M. That was, I mean, I thought that was obvious too. Man, Braden, I mean, I know you listen a lot, but not really.
Appreciate
well.
you listening, but
Yeah, but he's not listening well. Go ahead.
I wouldn't like it if someone said that about A&M.
Go ahead.
He finishes off with, that's basically what they are. We are not that. If there's a split in college football, they don't belong in the same conversations of Miami and Clemson. That's ridiculous.
I would disagree.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have the rich history of Miami and Clemson. Absolutely. There's no doubt about that. Their history, if we're talking about history, you're right. If we're talking about the resources in the current climate of college athletics, I'm sorry to tell you, Braden, you're wrong.
I think Texas Tech would have beaten Clemson by 2 touchdowns had they played last year.
Yeah, but I would rather have Clemson's history, of course.
Of course. I'd rather have Clemson's history than A&M's if we're going to talk about history.
Yeah. So, I mean, but if you don't think how much did they spend on that softball roster?
$1 million on one player.
Well, I mean, if we're just talking financial. We're not talking about resume. Like, hey, here's my LinkedIn profile for Texas Tech. I'm not saying that, right? Like, it's not what we're discussing. We're discussing, do you have the resources and the revenue to compete at this level?
Yeah.
And then you still have to hire the right guy. You still have to have the right players. Like, it's not. I don't want it to be a Yankees-Dodgers world where only 3 or 4 teams have the money to compete, but you still have to get the right people. It's not like the Dodgers have won every World Series ever. That was my Shooter McGavin. Shout out to Richard Zane.
I didn't know what that was.
Hey, shall we bank on something, OB?
Yeah, let's bank on something.
Bank on it. Brought to you by Vera Bank. Genuine banking when you're ready for better. Go see Joel Jackson and the team. Learn more at verabank.com. Let's go. What are you banking on?
I got to tell you, I'm not as confident as I typically am. I'm going to bank on Jordan Wilson to end that home run. I think it's a home run drought of about 7 or 8 games.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
So I think I'm going to bank on tonight.
Okay.
Jordan Wilson, home run tonight. And you know what? I'm banking on the top of the order. Why would you not?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Grahovic, Sorrell, Hakopian. Yeah. And
Hakopian.
If I can get to the 8th inning and it's in contention, I'll bank on our man Freshcorn.
Okay. You banked on a lot, actually, for a guy who wasn't ready in the bank.
I'm just saying.
You're a banker.
I'm not saying, I got to admit, though, I think last week or the week before, I banked on the pitching.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, this guy's going to come in. And that might have been one of those times they just got, might have been when they got run ruled.
Yeah.
So I want to bank on our pitching, but I don't want to be involved in bank failure.
Ethan Darden, I'm banking on you to put A&M in a position to win.
Okay.
All right, in a position.
All right.
4 2/3, 5 innings, looking good enough. I'm not banking on perfection. I'm banking on good enough. And I think with this offense, good enough, a second time taking on a pitcher who was fantastic against you, might be good enough. I say might because I'm not sure. I'm kind of like you, OB. Might be good enough to win this game against Auburn. And then we don't have to worry about the discussion because I think, and then you'll get up for Texas or Arkansas.
Yeah. Let's go Arkansas. Go Hogs.
Yeah. All right. OB, thank you
I'm
very
banking
much.
on the Hogs.
When we come back on TexAgs Live, Scott Clendenin, Ryan Brauninger in studio, the baseball bunch, Richard Zane on Zoom from Hoover. All that and more. Billy Liucci after that. It's TexAgs Live. And welcome back. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studios. Time for the baseball bunch. Our buddy Richard Zane is in Hoover on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. In studio, Ryan Brauninger and Scott Clendenin. Gentlemen, hello. How is everybody?
I'm doing very well now that I've had my morning conversation with Olin Buchanan. Something that you get 5 days a week, which sets you off on your good moods.
Yes.
And non-confrontational rants for the rest of the day.
Yeah. Were you guys arguing on something?
No, you are.
I'm just asking
really
a question.
Defensive.
Why is that
we're
defensive?
we're not in the dojo, David. You don't have to be defensive.
What was defensive about me saying arguing with somebody?
Yeah, that is in and of itself makes it defensive and like combative.
Okay.
As opposed to discussing.
John Jones.
Yeah, greatest. Anyway, let's chit chat a little bit about what's at stake tonight overall, guys. Florida is moving in the right direction. A&M versus Auburn, a team that they lost a series to not long ago. Bronny, why don't you set us up for what's at stake here tonight and moving forward?
Yeah, I think it's something Kendall really brought up on the show. I think after the Mississippi State series is like you feel good about A&M getting a top 8 national seed, but you don't know what that ground, that foundation, that footing looks like until all these other teams that are around A&M play and you see their results. Southern Miss they escaped by the skin of their teeth in the Sun Belt tournament, almost lost to Georgia State, would have completely eliminated them. I do think they're on the periphery. I think they're on the outside looking in. I think it's going to be A&M, Florida, and even Florida State for that final top 8 seed. Florida is playing really good baseball. I believe they've won 9 of their last 10. They are blasting people in Hoover. They look really good, and we know what kind of talent that they have on the pitcher's mound. They seem to have figured some things out at the plate. So in terms of like recency bias, it goes Florida's way. And as Florida keeps winning, their resume improves to the point where the committee may just gloss over A&M's series win because Florida is moving toward 20 quad 1 wins if they're not there already, which is the most in the country. That is going to be really impressive to a committee sitting down to try to give out a top 8 national seed. So A&M, I don't know if it's a must win, but man, you could really help your case if you could find a way to beat Auburn.
Scott?
I really don't know how committees or anything work like that because obviously Notre Dame should have been in the college football playoff last year. Head-to-head never matters, except head-to-head does matter.
Right.
And I would think that head-to-head on the road matters even more than head-to-head at home. Not taking anything away from Florida. I've watched them. They're pounding the baseball. They're playing great baseball right now. But they also got to play LSU and Kentucky at the end of the year. They weren't playing Mississippi and Mississippi State and Auburn at the end of the year. So I think that, schedule when you play somebody matters. For a long time you talked about, hey, look at the last 10 games. Well, when you got uneven schedules, that kind of changed all that. I do like the fact that Florida didn't play Missouri and South Carolina. They played South Carolina. So, they have, it's not like they don't have those are all legitimate wins.
They won a series at Georgia.
Yeah. So, I mean, that they have a resume that gives them an opportunity to do that.
I wonder if Alabama's on the chopping block now.
They got destroyed yesterday.
By Florida.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't looked at the DSR today. I need to look. I'm going to pull that up here in a second. But that's A&M's best metric.
Yeah, it is.
It's not RPI, but actually DSR, the Diamond Sports Report, which everybody says is now more of a factor than it was before.
Well, it was in the softball.
Yeah,
so everybody's kind of saying that baseball is going to go that direction because the softball bracket depended a lot on DSR.
So, I do think that the 3 teams that are higher seeded, that look like top 8 national seeds as you look at the metrics today, that are playing today, I think they will play with not just house money. I think Texas, Auburn, and A&M are going to play with a little bit more than house money. They're going to be serious about this. They understand this weekend is actually a 3-game weekend. If they can play 3 games, it's like they played a regular conference weekend, getting ready for a week next week when if you play your best baseball, you play 3 games again. So I think that, today, hopefully, depending on the rain report that we can get from Richard Zane, hopefully we can see some baseball today because I really don't want everything to get jumbled up for the rest of the weekend because it's rain today.
Well, let's discuss what happens if, okay? What happens if, Bronny, and we'll get to Richard here in a moment. I know we're having some technical issues at Bryant Broadcasting, but what happens if A&M wins and Florida wins? What happens if A&M loses and Florida does get a win over Georgia? Kind of take me through some scenarios of what we can try to wrap our heads around because we're not on the committee.
Right. That you're going to try to do your best mental gymnastics if you're wearing blue and orange, and the same if you're wearing maroon and white, because you don't know what the committee is going to value and how much weight is that head-to-head going to carry. I don't know that. It's hard for me to even guess if the recency bias comes into effect here. You know, how these teams are playing right before the committee members go in there to make the bracket. I don't know. I don't know if DSR is going to be the metric that's pushed to the forefront when trying to break deadlocks in terms of seeding. You don't know. I know that you really don't want Florida State hovering around because I think their AD is the president of the committee. So the Seminoles, if their metrics are close, they're going to.
Florida beat Florida State, right?
Yes, but A&M beat Florida.
Yeah,
like you know what I'm saying. Like it doesn't. I don't know that all that's going to matter. It should, especially if the margins are so fine. You should go to head, but we don't know how that's going to. You know, are they looking at a specific series or an entire 54-game season?
And there is some also talk on the periphery that Florida State got underseeded last week, cost them advancing in softball, and here you are just 2 weeks later, and your AD's on the committee. And is there going to be some righteousness given to them when they're in the room? Let's not be naive and say that Florida State's got to walk out and they don't get to talk about themselves. Well, backs get scratched by other people. And, I think that it's going to be a very interesting situation. But I think that you can play and put yourself in. Georgia can put themselves in a position where on the aggregate, they get another win against Florida. A&M can do the same thing against Auburn, and then it's an even Steven season between those two teams. We don't know. Sometimes that matters, sometimes it doesn't. Depends by the sport, depends by the committee. And, until all these games are played this weekend,
somebody's going to feel aggrieved.
Yes.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to feel like they got screwed by this thing.
So let me ask another impossible scenario that you guys can't answer, but just for discussion's sake. Let's say A&M and Florida meet in the championship game. So that means both teams have a lot more wins to add to their resume, right? And then in both scenarios, Florida wins, A&M wins.
I would think then Alabama may be on the chopping block.
A&M should be safe in that world.
I think so.
Yes.
You'd be moving A&M toward, you'd have 20 conference wins. That should be a top 8 national seed. A&M goes to the final. That's 20 total SEC wins, and you got one taken away from you in the regular season. And just as much as people want to argue that Texas would have salvaged that series because because of Atlantis, they would have salvaged that finale. I have no belief that the way Texas was playing that weekend and the way that their club was getting managed was going to be able to withstand what Bluebell Park was that weekend. And Weston Moss has been pitching pretty well. Like, I can make just as sound of an argument that A&M would have won that game, but you're playing hypotheticals there. But still, if A&M's able to get to 20 conference wins while having one taken away from them in the regular season, that'd be a pretty major feather in the hat of Michael Early.
All right, let's talk. Oh, go ahead.
I think there's some seed lines both of these teams can jump up. I agree that I think Alabama would be, the team that might be in the most trouble, but it might be Auburn. You'd have to see how this game plays out to see who they would like between Auburn and Alabama. And I think that's why the new format where you can actually see some teams have good pitching, I think that would matter. But I also think that Alabama sweeping Auburn earlier this year can matter.
Well, and if these decisions are going to come down to tight margins, how much emphasis, if any at all, does the committee put on conference standings? And I was listening to, was it Olin maybe earlier this week that, A&M finished third in the conference. Why shouldn't they get a top 8 national seed if you finish third in the toughest league in the country? the reason for that does not receive as much emphasis as it may have used to is because of the imbalanced schedules. Now, the two teams ahead of Texas A&M in those standings got to play Missouri and South Carolina. Both of them did. So if A&M subs out, Georgia for South Carolina, A&M may be at 20 SEC wins right now.
Right.
In the whole thing, and then it's not a discussion. So because of that, you can't solely look at who's in front of who in the SEC standings. Ole Miss is the only team in the conference that didn't play either Missouri or South Carolina. So when you look at where Ole Miss stands, you need to understand that. Like, they didn't get the benefit of playing the two teams in the league that are drastically below everybody else.
Agreed.
In terms of talent, in terms of, South Carolina just cleaned out their entire baseball program yesterday. They'd already fired Paul Maneri. Everybody got wiped out yesterday. They're starting from scratch. Missouri, we know what that is. I think it's less than 10 conference wins in 2 seasons. Those two programs right now are in the doldrums. Everybody else, though, is a live dog when you go into these weekends and play them.
You played LSU when they had 6 of their 9 wins that they ended up with this year.
And A&M, you can make an argument that A&M ended LSU season, just like they did in football.
Multiple sports, yeah.
Right. So when A&M went to Alex Box, though, LSU had their backs against the wall.
Yes.
And that was like fight or flight, our last gasp to get our season back on track, and A&M swept them.
And they had won 2/3 of the games they won in this league. At that point in time, they were sitting at 6 wins. So don't compare LSU that Florida saw last week to LSU that A&M played at Alex Box in the middle of the year. It's not the same.
All right. How much can we read into last season, postseason A&M? Follow me here for a second. This team has done pretty well. This program has done pretty well in Hoover starting off their first game. Can we read into what we saw last year? Can we read into what this history is tonight and moving ahead?
No, absolutely not. The greatest season in Texas A&M history, 2024, they went 0-2 in Hoover, coming off of losing 2 of their final 3 regular season series. This team lost 2 of their final 3 regular season series. I don't know that them winning or losing in Hoover is going to have any kind of indication of the ceiling, when the postseason really starts next week. So you want them to go out and play good, clean baseball. I do like the fact that they're playing Auburn, a team that they felt like they may have let one slip. They were right there in the margins, were within 1 run in the final 2 games of that series. And so I think there'll be a little bit of juice in the dugout. But the number one thing is you want to go play good, clean baseball, stay healthy for, at the very least you're going to have baseball at Bluebell Park next week.
Yep. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center and talk to Richard Zane in Hoover, live in Hoover. Richard, you've been listening to the discussion. Just chime in on everything we've discussed here, from what A&M has to do, what's at stake. Just play catch up with us.
Well, where do you want me to start, Poppy?
Well,
there's merit to what Bronny's talking about, the imbalanced schedules. I also understand that head-to-head should matter, is what Olin is saying earlier today. But there's so much more that goes into it than just the games played on the field. And they've got these metrics for a reason to help guide the committee through all of these imbalanced schedules, because A&M doesn't play the same schedule that Mississippi State does, or Florida State, whatever. And then to your point about, can we take anything from the postseason of the past? I'm not exactly sure that I agree with Bronny where he says no, because A&M might be in a similar spot to where they were last year, where they were desperate to get a couple of wins. Now, completely different situation, right, where they were desperate to just get into the NCAA tournament. But is it possible that they're desperate to get a win here today, and that'll impact the way they play and the way Michael Early manages this ball game to help solidify that top 8 national seed? I think that A&M can draw a little bit on past experiences here in Hoover and, try to impart some of that to the current situation, but we'll have to see how it goes. I think A&M is not in a quote unquote must-win situation, because we know A&M's bringing postseason baseball to Bluebell Park next weekend. We just don't know if they will be guaranteed a second weekend of home baseball should they get through a regional. But it would certainly behoove them to win today.
All right, let's hit a break. We'll come back. Let's talk pitching over the next couple of days on both sides, or hopefully the next few days on both sides. Right now, we'll hit a break. We're talking Paragon Financial. Whenever you need real peace of mind when it comes to your money, check out Aggie-owned Paragon Financial Advisors. They're an independent fiduciary serving clients all across Texas. No sales pitches, no commissions, just honest financial planning and investment management. And what sets them apart is the over 9 CFPs, the CFA, and the CPA, all on staff. They take their credentials seriously, and they work tirelessly to help you build a future that you can feel good about. Go to paragon-adv.com or give them a call, 979-693-3907 to schedule your free consultation today. It is Paragon Financial Advisors, integrity, expertise, and trust. Paragon Financial Advisors. And we're back. It is TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio, the baseball bunch. Gentlemen, Alvarez going again. The last time we saw him was game 1 of the series. He threw a complete game and struck out 11. You're looking at me like I'm wrong about something.
No.
Okay.
I was thinking about something else.
So let's talk. Is there? I'm over here trying to read into things. Is there an advantage to seeing this guy again, just a couple weeks removed, Scott?
Well, I mean, I think that you what your scouting report was, what your game plan was, what did or didn't work. You can look at that and see. He was just really good with good stuff, but you still scored on him. And I think that what Ethan Darden does against him is really important because of what's going to happen the next 2 weeks. So I think this is two guys that are going to go out there, and I think that A&M can have success against him because they already did. And then I look at yesterday with Arkansas, who threw a no-hitter their previous time out, and it's a run rule against the same pitcher. And, I know there's some space between it. This is college baseball. It's not the same as pros, where not only will you see a team sometimes the next week, but you will see them multiple times during the year. And, if you get a wrinkle, if you saw something, if now you can pick up on tip pitches, all that kind of stuff that goes into it, I don't think a previous success automatically leads into success a second time around.
I like A&M's lineup the more they see anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that this kid had some success against the Aggies a couple of weeks ago, I like that too. If you're going to face him again, I just think this lineup's too talented to be held down consecutively by the same guy for an extended period of time. What's funny is if it's Ethan Darden that's going to start tonight, and Scott's the Aggie baseball historian, this has got to be the first time in Aggie baseball history the same player has started pitching 3 of a team's 4 games.
Never happened before.
That's a pretty safe bet that it hasn't. I think in professional baseball, Zach Greinke 1 year made a start right before the All-Star break, 2 games before the All-Star break, got ejected in the first inning, so they started him the next day, and then after the All-Star break, he got a start.
That sounds familiar, yeah.
3 consecutive games. But within the span of a week, I don't think it's ever happened at Texas A&M. 3 or 4 games would be pretty cool. Just something to have for Ethan Darden, and maybe he'll be a trivia question answer for a long time going forward. But A&M has more familiarity with Alvarez than Auburn has familiarity with Darden.
Richard, are you optimistic from what you've seen from Ethan Darden? At least the last time we saw him should make you optimistic, but we've seen him now a couple of times in that starting role. Oh, we lost him.
We lost. Are you muted?
Gosh bless. Good times.
Can you hear me?
Hey, there he is.
Can you guys? Yeah, it was not muted at all. How could you not be optimistic about Ethan Darden after the start he gave you in the regular season finale against Mississippi State? 3 1/3. I think if we were talking pregame in the booth, guys, and saying if Ethan Darden gave you 3 innings of scoreless baseball, you'd take that and run with it, and he gave you more than what you had asked for. Ended up getting tagged with run as an inherited runner came across the score against Gavin Lyons, and he's showing more and more confidence in this role as he's now been used as an opener a couple of times. I know Coach Hurley won't call it an opener because they're going to try and get as much depth from him as possible, and I like it. I think he's found success in this role, and he's kind of taking it and running with it. The way he spoke to a Saturday post-game was hilarious. He was a great quote, and it kind of shows the kind of guy he is and the mentality he brings with him to the mound in these kind of starts. It is very much, blank it, let's go do it. Let's go do this stuff. And I like that from your guy, and I think that's the kind of mentality you want in an elimination game, single elimination game here this evening.
So Cooper Powell obviously looked really good the other day, and we've talked about with Coach early here in studio about guys have to emerge sometimes that you haven't thought of. Who's a name for you, Bronny, that could emerge this week, at least from the pitching staff? Is it more Cooper Powell?
Yeah, I think you got to run him out there if you get a chance in a leverage spot that's not for Clayton Freshcorn. Tonight, I think Cooper Powell would be an early call down there. Gavin Lyons, he's going to pitch better than he did against Auburn. He's one of those players with Gavin Lyons has shown us this year I'm almost in the same boat as I am like when Caden Sorrell slumps. Good. Like Caden Sorrell's not swinging the bat and A&M's winning games. I'm happy about that. Gavin Lyons doesn't pitch well and you win a series. Good, because he's going to pitch better.
Right.
Like Caden Sorrell's not going to be in a slump forever. Like these guys are good players and they've shown that. And so I would probably lean both of those. I still think Hunter Bond's going to get an opportunity, whether it be this week in Hoover or next week at a regional. I think Hunter Bond's done enough that the coaching staff's maybe not itching to get him in a high leverage spot, but more comfortable with him as an option than they were a month ago.
Scotty?
I think Hunter Vincent's along the same lines. I think that
just got to throw it over the plate.
I understand.
If he does, yeah.
But this week, as this weekend goes along, it becomes less and less like you've got a bunch of pressure on you. Just go out there and pitch. And I think that, for what the best that A&M can be is having more bullets in the gun. And to do it this week, you have no idea how good or bad the 4 seed that is coming to A&M next week is. That is something we don't know how this coaching staff is going to approach if you are pitching thin, how you're going to approach the next week. So whatever they can do this week and in this first game to shore some of that up, I think leads to what they do next week. So, it's funny that, we talked about it last week. They were not leveraged situations in the first game of the series last week, but guys went out there and had success and it gave you a taste. And then you go back and you see Cooper Powell again and you see Darden go back out there again and you're looking at it going, you're finding some answers. This is pointed in the right direction. And I just love the stuff. And if you're a guy with stuff, when it's all working, you've got a short hook, but you have a long leash.
I would love for Hunter Vincent to have an outing between now and the end of the season, whenever that may be, that is his launching off point to being a real dude on this weekend staff next year.
Yeah.
The stuff is undeniable. It's not holding a bullet in the chamber with that kid. It's a cruise missile. You just don't know if the coordinates are going to find the target it's aiming at right now. But the ceiling is for him to be a weekend starter without question. I mean, what he did against Mississippi State when that game was out of hand is he came in there and I have to imagine all the scouts perked up and this is a real dude that we need to keep tracking on the back end of a blowout game. And to me, I don't want to. Clayton Freshcorn's going to pitch, it professionally, no question. A lot of these guys on this staff will. But in terms of just raw stuff, Hunter Vincent's the best on the staff.
Richard, before we hit a break, Shane Sadeo, how do you expect for him to be used? Is it a today thing later on after 3, 4, 5 innings from Ethan Darden?
I mean, if I get 3 or 4 from Ethan Darden, I'd like to go to Gavin Lyons or Cooper Powell or Hunter Bond, and then get me to Freshcorn. But that's as you get length out of a guy like Ethan Darden. If he only gives you a couple innings, sure, Shane Sadeo, go to him. Shane Sadeo, I think, is going to have a big say in this season and this postseason, and the Aggies are going to need to rely on him to get some outs and eat up some innings. So hopefully he can take what he gave you against Mississippi State and kind of build on it and be even better than that, because A&M, as I said, is going to need him to step up big down the stretch here in the postseason.
Do you guys have an opinion on how they use Shane here over the next couple of days?
No. I'm of the opinion, I said this yesterday on B-Team, whatever they choose to do with the pitching staff, I will understand it. Just because it is what it is, and I think the fan base knows they're kind of up against it with the options that they've got. If you have been watching these games in Hoover, you know where A&M sits in the pecking order of arm talent on the pitching staff. That doesn't mean that these other teams are better than A&M or A&M can't win with what they've got. The options are limited. So whenever Michael Early decides he's going to come out of the dugout and make a move, it's hard for me to get too worked up over it.
Yeah.
I would have a different answer if I was sitting in the coach's seat or I was on the coaching staff, but I'm not. I'm an analyst, there has to be some hope involved in this. And I know that's not a strategy, but you're hoping these things work.
And I just think that you play it like it's a conference series this weekend that if you play it like that, there's a reason why you won all these games. The difference is you don't get game 2 and game 3 unless you game 1.
And you've been bad in game 1.
Unless you win game 1. And Darden can be the difference in that. He can give you an opportunity the way he's been pitching.
All right, we'll hit a break here. We'll come back with more. I want to talk about the health of the team on the other side. Right now, Milliken Reserve, farm-to-table community in College Station. They got homes, they got trails, they got farms, they got wide open spaces, and they have a mission to build a healthy community around nature. They have 2,600 acres of open space, 30 miles of trails, and they got awesome homes there, and an extensive network of trails throughout a wooded landscape. When you go there, you're going to love it. You can throw the ball, you can climb the trees, you can do it all. Hiking, biking, canoeing, kayaking, equestrian trails, evening yoga, summer camps, music festivals, farmer markets, and farm tours. It's an awesome place, and you can become a Conservancy member there. You'll be helping to ensure that the native landscape and the wildlife also receive member-only benefits. Check out the website, millikenreserve.com. That website again, millikenreserve.com. Really can't wait till after the show because I've spent my last few breaks checking out this new UFO footage. Some really good stuff out there. Blowing up a UFO. It's down there. They've released it. It's happening. It's official. Okay? Check it out. TexAgs Live. We're presented by
I'm sorry. I saw a UFO when I was 8, so this is not new to me.
Jose Canseco?
No. I'm being serious.
You saw a UFO when you were 8?
Yes. In South Texas.
I'm sorry. It's the baseball bunch, but I got to find out more.
No, it was lights flying in the sky that no plane could do.
Interesting.
So,
can we talk about the health of the team?
There's a UFO.
I said, I don't know. You guys have way more intel than I do, but I don't know if we'll see Nico tonight. What do you think, Bronny?
I think, Michael Early may have a decision to make. I would imagine Nico wants to play.
Yeah.
Nico's listed as probable today, Zane?
Yes.
That's correct. Yep. That would lead me to believe that Michael Early is going to go, he can play, but should he play?
Mm-hmm.
And is it worth one more week of rest to make sure that he is undoubtedly ready to play when the regional starts next week? I don't know. I would tend to lean, I would exercise an abundance of caution if I were the head coach.
Yeah. Scott?
I think you've shown he can play. The only person that on the injury report that the NCAA, by its wisdom, can determine if you're going to play somebody or not is Sims. I think you've shown that your other guys can play. Okopium has been a man. He has stood out there, what Boston Kellner's done. And the other thing is you've shown that, hey, your team's pretty good.
Yeah.
This ain't Cincinnati and Kenyon Martin where their basketball team won the same thing.
Yeah, that's old school right there.
What a pull.
So I just think that you have shown you have guys who can play. And, if you're able to win games with the pitching staff 2 straight weekends without Sims, that isn't something the committee can sit there and go, yeah, but what is their pitching staff really like? This guy may not pitch again, even though they're saying it. Well, you take everybody else's word for it.
I have an update there.
Okay.
NCAA committee members, if you're watching this show, Aiden Sims will pitch at Texas A&M again this year. I'm extremely confident in saying that. Barring some sort of really unforeseen setback, Aiden Sims will pitch next week in the regional.
Okay. That's great. Great update.
Yeah, and Coach Early told us that earlier this week, and I put it out, but some people had some issues with their reading comprehension and didn't read he does expect to pitch again this season. People saw the DOES and thought that N''T were going to follow it. Yeah, Aiden Sims, I think he's going to pitch. He's listed as questionable on the availability report this week because he's practicing. This is directly tied to their ability and their availability in practice. He's throwing his bullpens. He's preparing to pitch in the postseason. Just won't see him this weekend. That's positive. All of that is positive. So if you're trying to run for the hills and David's War of the Worlds scenario here because Aiden Sims is listed on the availability report, you don't need to. It's okay. Orson Welles has you, all right?
Good pull right there, too. Chris Akopian, he's been dealing with stuff all season long. Can you kind of tell us where you think he is, Bronny?
I don't think his status has changed much. He is improving during the week when he doesn't have to play. Then when he has to play, that quad, that bruise, and it's not just like a surface level bruise. And I don't know how much specifics we've gotten into. It's pretty remarkable that he's gutted it out with everything he's got in front of him and all that's at stake for him. He's played on one leg, and the severity of it would have set a lot of people down, especially, again, given his status as a prospect, the potential payday that's on its way, and he is gutted through it. There was no better depiction of the selflessness of this team, the lack of ego on this team than Chris Akopian hobbling home on that Bear Harrison single against Mississippi State. I don't know if he's going to get to a place where he can play defense and be as mobile as he was before running into Jorian Wilson. We'll see. Coach Early has said that he gets better during the week, and then when the games play, that's when the arrow starts going the other direction, and then you're kind of starting the whole process over again. To get fully healthy, he's just going to need time off his feet.
Yeah.
And I think that, the reason why he has issues after playing is it's full speed. It's I don't care. I mean, it's like I'm going to give you everything I have in the bucket.
I think they've told him off the bat, you know what it is. Like, there's no might be doubles. It's either a double or it's a single. Like, there's no in between. And there's no such thing as triple in your vernacular right now.
Right.
Well, it looked like a triple when he went first to home. I mean, I'm just saying what he is doing. If there was any, and I know how the scouts are and what if you're looking for the fallacies of a player, okay, the heart of this player is first round pick. And that's why the talent mixed with the heart is high first round pick.
And to me, it also speaks to whenever Chris was going through that slump, how much belief Michael Early would come in here and talk about Chris as a player. And I think he was more frustrated because we hadn't seen just the full version of Chris Akopian, healthy and going the best he can, because I know for a fact both he and Cliff Pennington think this kid is an off-the-charts player, and we know he's an off-the-charts kid and what he's meant now throughout the course of the season with all the injuries. You go back to his back, then he get hit in the face, and now this leg thing. It's just been unfortunate unfortunate run of bad luck for Chris on the health front, but the players talk about him and his work ethic and what he's meant to the clubhouse and the locker room, and the coaches obviously very much value that. And to Scott's point, I think he has endeared himself on that level, the off-the-field intangible level piece of his scouting report has only improved at Texas A&M.
Richard, we just talked about Nico and Chris, two of your better players, banged up, limited in their movement, and A&M is still here, top 3 in the SEC, all the things they've had to navigate through with the pitching staff. It just shows you the grit that Coach Early always talks about when he comes in here in the studio.
And I think Bronny, to his credit, kind of summed it up perfectly in baseball thoughts this week. It's rough, it's tough, and it's real stuff. They keep proving themselves week in and week out, even when they're not at 100%. Everybody out there is not at 100% at this point in the season, and they keep putting together complete performances. They keep finding ways to win, and they keep doing it selflessly. It's unselfish baseball. Bronny, I know you did a baseball breakdown earlier this week, yesterday on that 8th inning sequence. That epitomizes what this team can be and has been for most of the season, and it's going to have to continue to be so if A&M's going to get back to Omaha for the 3rd time in 5 years.
Well, I thought about that. I thought the huddle that the team had in the 8th inning when they were all together with the coaches and you didn't know who was going to go in. You've got guys that could have been a pinch runner. Chestnut could have been a pinch runner for Hakopian. But that group and all of them were looking at each other going, we've got this. All of them went to each other. They were all with each other right there. And as the group, you could see that this group is tight. They were putting the team first, and all of them were like, hey, you're going to get it done. You're going to get it done. We've got this. And I think that was huge when you look at the end of the year, when you've got this team locked in like that.
Yeah, Jake Dewar's probably a good bunter, the way he handles the bat. He's not as good of a bunter as Travis Chestnut, and Jake Dewar knows that. And there was no ego with Jake Dewar whenever Coach Early said, hey, Travis is going to go here for you, and he's bunting. And Jake said, good. That's what the team needs. Yeah. He's better at this than me. He can also play outfield, and he's got more range than me in a tight ball game. And again, that whole inning, like Richard said, it was just the epitome of what the goals were for this club back in August and September when it started with Coach Early, and then it trickled down through the leadership of this team saying this will be different. And the phrase that I said the entire offseason, and one of the main reasons they brought in Cliff Pennington was to what? Play the whole game.
Yeah.
There it was. Caden Sorrell, I like to swing because I hit the ball really hard. I take a 4-pitch walk on some pitches that I will normally swing at. Chris Akopian doesn't try to play hero ball. Backside single. Doesn't get big and pull his chest and try to hit the 2-run homer. Just has a good at bat. Then you make the move to Chestnut, and he executes. And then Bear comes through with what I've called the most clutch hit of the Michael Early era so far, and I hope there's more. And even within that, you see Chris Akopian's read at second base was incredible. And then he's gutting it out to score. Like, that sequence of events to me, is up there in importance for this team with the series of events that happened against Texas, where it was the talent shine through. When you went Bear double, Kellner walk, Grahovic triple, Sorrell double, like that series in game 2 against Texas, that got the fan base believing in this club again. I think I like the sequence against Mississippi State more because it shows how different this program and this team were from a year ago.
We'll hit a break. We'll close it out on the other side. When it comes to your money, you don't want someone who actually gets you want somebody who actually gets this community, and that would be our friends there at Guarantee Bank and Trust. Someone who bleeds maroon and knows what it means to build something here in the Brazos Valley, and that's what they do. Market President Brandon Sears is an Aggie graduate. He chose to plant his roots here because this community does matter to him and his family. And community banking means your loan doesn't get shipped off to some committee 2 states away. It means that the person approving your mortgage lives down the street. It means that Bryan College Station grows, you'll grow, and Guarantee Bank and Trust will grow with it. They support local businesses, financial education, home ownership, nonprofits right here in our own backyard. 33 great locations across the great state of Texas. One community bank with one commitment, growing stronger together. Stop by one of the 3 Bryan College Station locations or visit gnty.com. That is gnty.com. Guarantee Bank and Trust, a division of Glacier Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Unfortunately, I'm trying to look at the Zoom, and I can't read what it says there.
It's probably inappropriate.
It was backwards. I mean, I wish we could.
I love Jay. Jason Howell.
Who doesn't?
That's a good segue. You might have some news at the end of the show today.
What?
Yeah.
Are you hinting something?
I am hinting something. If you've read our message boards, you know that A&M is on the doorstep of adding to their 2027 class.
Big fan of that.
Superstar.
Speaking of a superstar, Jorian Wilson.
Superstore?
He blew that, didn't he?
The Jorian Wilson Superstore.
We had a perfect
They're gonna open
superstar.
You said Superstore. The Jorian Wilson.
Did I say Superstore?
It sounded like you said Superstore. And there's going to be the Jorian Wilson Superstore in Hallettsville, Texas. He is going to play baseball for the next 15 to 20 years of his life. He's going to make $500 million, and then he's going to open
like the
Jorian Wilson Superstore only in Hallettsville, Texas.
Hammer time.
It's like, an Ace Hardware store meets Buc-ee's.
Sure.
I don't know why.
I don't know how. I've had some pretty good sausage down that way already.
Have you?
Yeah. I mean, the meat market right there, it's pretty good.
1775, right down the street. Can we
Big
talk
sausage guy?
Y'all putting in pretzels all the time. I'm sorry.
Ronnie, you okay?
Oh, he's lost it.
Okay, let's go to Richard and give me some info on Jorian Wilson. He's due, right?
Yeah, you're right. He is due. I think he's fine. He put the ball in the air in his last at bat against Mississippi State. He had a couple base hits even when it wasn't going well for him. Just lets you know how special of a player he is. I'm very distracted by the fact that Bronny can't hold it together. Scott, I know earlier.
Oh, come on, man.
Forecast earlier. It's raining a little bit. I think we're going to play baseball later tonight. That's really all the information I have. I haven't even looked outside, guys.
I'll say this about Jorian. I was encouraged by it. You listen to Coach Early talk about, he told me that Jorian's pregame batting practice on Friday of the Mississippi State series was one of the best rounds that he'd seen as a head coach here at Texas A&M or hitting coach here at Texas A&M. And it's not always an indicator that those moves and those feels are going to immediately translate into games. But Early told me that even Sorrell, after that Friday round of BP, Sorrell walked by him. He said, that was the most impressive thing I've ever seen here, was Jorian's round of batting practice. So we know that he's got that in his locker, right? Like, at any moment in time, he could go over a span of 10 at-bats and hit 6 homers and hit balls over 110 miles an hour. This is kind of the progression of Jorian. He's going to have his highs and his lows. I like when he's hitting the ball in the air, especially in the air the other way. So let's see if he can build on that.
And I think not this week, but next week in the season going forward, teams that don't know how to pitch to Jorian Wilson, that may say, hey, we got a book on this guy now, we've already seen him blow that up. He did that at LSU when LSU said, this is the out pitch, and he hit 500 feet, a couple times.
Gentlemen, thank you for a very fun baseball bunch. Richard, enjoy your time there in Hoover. Hopefully it's a longer trip, okay? All right, we'll hit a break.
Yeah, hopefully I won't see you till Monday.
That'd be great. When we come back, we will have Billy Liucci very early in the segment. I'm not saying at some point, very early in the segment. That's next on TexAgs. We're back. It is TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are in the Rollo Insurance Studio. It is time for Lunch with Liucci. We'll catch up with Billy Liucci here at some point in the next couple of minutes. I'm predicting 10:06. My prediction? He may tell us to call him here in a second. I don't know. I never know. We go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Matthew Coughlin, tell us what's popping on TexAgs today.
It's a brief slate today, but as...
What are you talking about? We got Richard Zane in Hoover for the SEC tournament. We've got maybe some big news after the show in the recruiting world. I know we got some stuff.
Yeah, just a couple things. Of course, Richard Zane's baseball coverage from Hoover, sponsored by Catalyst, and then Jason Howell's Three Things, sponsored by Hudson Oaks. And I'm interested to see what that recruiting thing has, but I do have an article that I read yesterday about a 3-star tight end, Holden Naimi, who is the class of 2027, that had some rumors and has been logged as an expert prediction by rivals to come to A&M.
Yeah, well, I say go to texags.com when you want A&M recruiting information, because we're always first, and we're the best, and we're the most accurate and the most fair. That's my opinion of it. I work here. Deal with it. What else?
So On3 came out with a top 100 college football players for the upcoming season, but only 2 Aggies appeared on the list.
I saw that, and I was kind of like, Texas, I believe, had 3 of the top 10. Do you have the numbers in front of you, or the names?
So
I think Texas had 3 of the top 10. I think Mario Craver was the first Aggie, and I'm going to say he was like at 40?
33.
33, okay. And then I'm trying to think, was it Marcus Ratcliffe, the next Aggie?
That is correct.
And he was like in the 70s, maybe?
57.
Okay. And that was it.
That was it. So who's your biggest omit in that top 100?
I mean, Isaiah Horton. I mean, I hope several. Look, I think people who do these lists have to fill content time, and they go for the lowest hanging fruit. So give me the top 10, okay? Because I think, and by the way, I'm not saying that they're wrong as of right now. I think Mario Craver should absolutely be higher on that list.
And they value receiver because number 1 is Jeremiah Smith.
I mean, Mario Craver last year, before he was injured, was on his way to a 1,000-yard season, and he had to take some time off and wasn't the same receiver. So the fact that he is, you said 33 on the top 100. Billy, we're talking about Billy Liucci's in studio. On3 has their top 100 players. A&M's got 2 players only in the top 100. The first player is Mario Craver at 33. The next player was Marcus Ratcliffe at 57. Texas had 3 of the top 10.
That's stupid. Not the Texas with 3 of the top 10.
But only 2 Aggies in the top 100.
A&M with 2 in the top 100 is dumb. If you don't, I mean, again, I spend a whole show doing this. We've done it a million times. If you don't have Marcel Reed in your top 100,
that's Sam Levitt very high, right?
Players would do what?
Sam Levitt was very high on that list.
Sam Levitt top 10.
And if we weren't on air, I would go full cussing at that one, because that's just some dumb, you know what. I mean, I don't know who put together the list. No offense. I don't mean to offend you if you one person job, but your list sucks. To not have him in the top 100, even if he went and threw no touchdowns and 100 interceptions last year and A&M went 0-12, to not have him in the top 100 today, based on what you've seen, is flat out stupid. It really is.
And he's not the only one, Billy.
Yeah, but I'm starting there.
Yeah.
Isaiah Horton.
Yep.
DJ Hicks, I believe you can make a case for. I understand them, it's hard to figure out, if they're going stat combing, they're looking at all conference teams. They can pretend they're doing more research than that, but I promise you it's not a whole lot more. And they're going off eyeball tests. So a lot of these interior linemen, I don't have as big a gripe. I think end of day guys with a chance to play in Dalton Brooks, Damian Sanford, Damian Sanford, Isaiah Horton, Ashton Bethel-Roman. I'm just naming guys. I mentioned Marcel, Des Ricks, Ricky Gibson. There's a lot of potential. I don't know who I would stand on the table and say, and then not to mention the portal.
Damian
also
Sanford.
more guys like Anto Saka.
Yep.
I don't know who. Why'd you say Sanford?
I mean, he's good.
Yeah, but I said him already.
I was just following up your said it.
Okay.
So
So, to me,
so like, you know, when people have conversations, you'll
Oh,
say
yeah.
something, and then you're like, yeah, and
You
Damian
did-
Sanford. Like, you want to make sure.
so
that
if we
get in there.
replayed that, it wouldn't come off as you not just adding a name in there that you didn't think I said.
No.
Okay.
Not at all.
Okay.
Even though maybe. Even maybe.
I was just
Oh my
like,
God.
I didn't know why you said Sanford there. Like, I thought you were saying he should absolutely be in it now.
I think he should absolutely be in it right now. There, in my opinion,
Yeah.
based on what I saw last year, and again, these lists, just like our 25 and 25, there are projections based on what we've seen. And if you haven't seen a lot of these guys, you just look at stats, you're going to make a list a certain way. We have the benefit of you broke it. It may never work again.
No, it just doesn't have a
it's right there.
thing for your pocket. So Damian, no, I think my number one I would gripe about is Marcel Reed. The guy was quite literally, probably even this same outlet on 3 probably had him as one of their Heisman top 5, top 10 candidates with a game left in the regular season. And how you do that to drop somebody out of the top 100, I think at some point they should just admit that was an omission. That's dumb. I don't know if leaving Damian or Dalton or Deseric's out or Ricky Gibson, what I say is dumb. Anto Saka, I think those are all guys that could easily play their way into it, and I could make a case for each of them why they should be in a top 100 if I'm looking at probably other names on that list.
Can you read the top 10?
Yep.
Because I just want to see what you think about this top 10.
Okay.
All right, so 1 was Jeremiah Smith.
No problem.
2, Dante Moore, Oregon. 3, Leonard Moore, Notre Dame. 4, Dylan Stewart, South Carolina. 5, Malachi Toney. 6, Colin Simmons. 7, Cam Coleman.
Hold on. Have we played all 7 of those guys? Has there been? No, we haven't played Jeremiah Smith. Sorry.
Yeah. Or Dante Moore.
Yeah, sorry. After the top 2.
Sam Levitt
3 through 7.
is 8.
We'll play him.
Maybe.
9 is Julian Sayin, Ohio State.
Won't play him.
And 10 is Arch Manning.
Have played him?
I don't mind that list at all. I'd put Arch over Levitt and Sayin. For those that say I never say anything positive about Arch Manning, there you go. There it is. I'd put him over Levitt and Sayin.
Would you put Marcel over Sam right now? I would.
Yeah. Here's my problem with Sam Levitt. He's getting the Lane Kiffin benefit of the doubt.
Bump, yep.
Which is fine. But you could also give the entire season benefit of the doubt to Marcel Reed. I said what I said about Levitt the other day. He's playing in the Big 12. He had a first round tackle. He had a top 10 pick at wide receiver, and his 2 running backs were Cam Scadaboo and Rayleigh Brown last year, who led the Big 12 in rushing, who's now at Texas. Scadaboo starts for the Giants. Jordan Tyson was a top 10 pick, and Ahinachor, how do you say his name? He was late first round draft pick at tackle, mid to late first round draft pick at tackle. Like, I say late, I'm pretty sure he was middle of the first, like a top 20 pick. Those were the weapons you had around you. That was the protection you had, the run game you had, the playmaking wide receiver you had at Arizona State playing in the Big 12, where your toughest non-conference game was Mississippi State that you lost. I watched him against Texas, and I thought, man, this guy is so overrated. He looks horrifically bad. And then all of a sudden, he looked a lot better, and I was like, okay, he's a gamer. I was really impressed with, like, the competitor in him in that Texas game. But that was more Scadaboo than it was anyone else. He took over the game, but I was impressed with Levitt because he was so bad in the first half, and then he just wouldn't go away. He fought. I like that about him, and I watched him. So I've actually seen him in person. I went when they played Baylor last year in Waco during an early bye week for A&M, and he impresses me with how he runs. That's something I don't think people talk about enough. how he'll tuck it and take off. That's problematic for teams, and you saw Lane do that a lot with Jackson Dart. So he'll utilize it and make it a weapon. But I just think he's probably the most. He's my John Mateer for this year. They're just talking about him too much. They're making him something he's not. Now the difference is he's got Lane Kiffin. Mateer had his handpicked coach come with him from Washington State, who I'm still skeptical of, Arbuckle. So no, to me, I think he's overrated. I'd have him, in the top 5 quarterbacks in the SEC. I wouldn't have a problem with that.
But top 10, 100
Overall,
players? No.
I think that's. I don't know what. I don't.
Yeah.
You've lost me on that list already when you don't have Marcel as a top 100, and I liked saying more early in the year than Arch, but as the season went on, I just thought I wasn't very impressed. Texas's offense had its ups and downs, and I'll argue, as you know, I'll fight with Amanda on that show all day until the cows come home because at the end of the day, they still scored 1 offensive touchdowns in 4 of their 9 regular season games that weren't against UTEP, San Jose State, and whoever that third one was against. But the 8 SEC games in Ohio State, 9 regular season games against Power 4, they scored a 1 touchdown in 4 of them. But as I watched Arch as the season went on, and I watched Sayin, you see Sayin without some blocking, and with those weapons like Jeremiah Smith, like Carnell Tate, and you watch him and you're going, I'm just not quite there with him as I thought I would be when I watched the 2 guys face off at the start of the season.
Arch gets a bump because of his last 2 games. Because and Marcel loses his because of his last 2 games.
Yeah.
Right?
Which I'm okay with that. I'm okay with trajectories, and those 2 games count the same as the other 10 or 11.
Sure.
But I also think you weigh the toughest games a little more, which for Marcel were not just Miami and Texas. It was also Notre Dame.
I still think LSU was one of those.
Which for Arch were not just the 2, it was other ones. And you could say he didn't have blocking. I would contend Marcel didn't have a running game to lean on at all in those games where he looked so bad. Like they couldn't run for anything. So it all ties in together. It's all part of a season. But yeah, I thought Arch, as the year went on, earned this off-season praise to a point.
Yeah,
I think my pushback and cutoff will come when you start guaranteeing me he's going to win a Heisman and be the number 1 pick, and that the SEC is in deep trouble, because it's a big jump from what he did to SEC defenses last year to big trouble. And that's all I say is he too has to make a big jump. But I would have him. I would not argue with anyone I wouldn't argue too much if you had him as the top-rated QB. I would go Dante Moore. But if you had him, whatever. If you had him second, I certainly wouldn't argue. I don't know who I'd have ahead of him, but it's not right now today. It's certainly not Sam Leavitt or Sayin. If you told me go win a football game today and you gave me 2 of the same football teams, a guy that no one will talk about, well, first of all, I might have Trinidad Chambliss. That now that I say that,
where was he on the list?
I'd probably what
48.
I'd probably have him 2 and Arch 3. That would be my QB rankings. And if you're talking SEC and you said go win a football game today, I might put Gunnar Stockton in there.
Asinine. The Trinidad Chambliss is 48, and Sam Leavitt's in the top 10.
Okay. So I feel like
let's move on.
Yeah, I feel like we've done a disservice to even give this list that much credit.
But I just want to bring up a different list, because it feels like they were listening.
Better than that.
Well, I think you're gonna like it, because it sounds like they were listening to Billy Liucci's intel a couple of weeks ago. Okay, we talked about some lesser known names, if you will, for poised for breakout seasons. CBS Sports did it for all the teams, and the 2 names that they have, DJ Hicks and Anto Saka.
Okay.
That sounds like something that you said not long ago. I'll read you a little bit of what it says about DJ Hicks. Modest production through his first 3 seasons at A&M. just 2 starts last season, but many believe that the Aggie sources that the former 5-star recruit is positioned for a breakthrough senior season, and he's ranked as one of the top defensive line prospects in 2023 recruiting class. Not getting a lot of preseason love, but could be a dominant force in the league.
Yeah, I think everybody I've talked to within program, teammates, NFL people, they see him as a guy ready to make a jump. And I've had people tell me top 50 pick in the draft. I've had people tell me top 100. So, you're talking about a second, third round type pick right now today. And he's really put in work, man. You talk about
He looks great.
One of the great body transformations under Tommy Moffitt on that roster. Hicks is on the very short list, but he's had a hell of an offseason, and he's just he's played a lot of football.
Yeah,
he hasn't he's behind like Shamar Turner, then he's behind. I thought it would be him and Shamar Turner starting, then Albert Regis just refused to go away and played his way into being a third round NFL draft pick. And but he was playing behind. Were they both third rounders on Yedem and Regis, or was it third, fourth? But they were early, top half of the draft guys. And Hicks is one of those as well.
Yeah.
You just can't have. You could, but you just don't have 3 of them on the field at one time. There he is against Notre Dame. I thought he was very impactful in that one. That's one of the games by him that, to me, really stands out. But he's going to be really good this year. And then Anto Saka, I've talked about a lot. I loved him when they signed him at Northwestern. I like him 50 times more today after watching spring, talking to people throughout the offseason, throughout the spring ball. And I think he came in here and there was a little part of his game that was even better than expected. And I think that was the physicality, the pop, the punch, the power in his hands, and just his ability to get after the quarterback, but also stand in against the run.
That's exactly what it says. Good rusher, stout against the run.
Yeah, he's really damn good. Who wrote that? I like that guy.
CBS Sports. I don't remember who. It's just a guy at CBS Sports. Let's hit a break.
I would have put Jamarian Morrow in that.
I agree.
I don't think I could have done that segment without J-Mo on there.
Hey, I'm about to read something that you're going to be excited to hear. They're back with us. Frutella. You like Frutella?
I love Frutella.
Yeah, that's your place, right?
Almost went there last night, but then I had some Italian food in, of all places, Bastrop.
Huh. Good time.
It's really good.
Well,
but so is Frutella.
If you're in the Brazos Valley.
Stay in College Station. Keep your money here local, but Frutella is the place to be.
Family-owned restaurant, all about fresh, homemade cooking, crafted with love every single day. Recipes passed down through generations, and what makes them unique is their signature Frutella. It's like a calzone, but fried to golden perfection, stuffed with marinara, mozzarella, and your choice of a delicious filling. They have daily lunch specials from 11 a.m. to 3 with warm, inviting atmosphere. And if you're craving pizza, the Copper Dome Pizza Oven turns out thin crust Roman-style pizzas that are crispy, flavorful, and unforgettable. So when you're craving authentic Italian food, there's only one place that brings the tradition, the flavor, and the family together. That is Frutella Italian Cafe. Go check them out. A little Tribe Called Quest in the background just for Billy. Kevin Bacon loves them. I love them as well. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, by the way, my dear friends. Billy, let's continue.
So you're such close friends, I'm assuming that you'll be going. They'll be inviting you.
My good friend, Fife, died. I went to his wedding in Trinidad 20 years ago. He's no longer with us, Billy.
Wow. When are they getting inducted into the Hall?
No, they already were like 3 years ago.
Okay.
I'm just
that
making
would
sure.
have been a funnier thing to say, maybe a little more lighthearted.
Well, you're the one who said it.
Had you said, well, I can't go because they went 3 years ago.
Or 4, whatever
And
it was.
then I would say, were you invited to that one when he was alive?
I've been with them in San Diego. I've been at a lot of. I was a roadie. We're going
We
live.
need to talk more about this off air. I need to find out a little more
about the Tribe Called Quest relationship.
What'd you do? Like interview them, and then they took a liking to you, or what? How did this?
Do you want to know the quick story?
Very quick.
They were my favorite band growing up. Right. Moved to San Diego in 2001.
Left my wallet in
El Segundo. Yeah.
It's the only one I know.
Award tour. Maybe great song. Check the rhyme.
I know.
And I moved to San Diego in 2001. Fife was on tour, and I emailed his site to get credentials to his show, even though I wasn't in the media yet.
Okay.
Became friends with his manager, Dion Roots, and then we became friends. Then when I went to the Mavericks, I had Fife write the music soundtrack for the playoffs in 2004, All Out. Then Fife and I did a sports talk radio pilot for Sirius Satellite Radio, became good friends, and when they got back together, I went with them on tour.
What do you mean? Okay. You can't just stop there. I went with them on tour. What does
San
that mean?
Diego. I actually only went a couple places with them. San Diego. Where else did we go? Houston, Dallas, New Orleans.
Okay. What do you mean we went? Were you guys-
Elizabeth went with me to New Orleans.
But we all on the bus?
Houston. No, I flew. Yeah.
So you followed the band.
They followed
to
me.
3 venues. And
They
went-
followed me
okay.
to the venue.
Okay. I knew there was a little bit of added flavor to this
course,
thing. But
every story
it's still a good story. It's still you tribe mogged.
I spoke at his wedding. Yeah, this is.
Oh, you spoke at the wedding?
Yeah, I spoke at his wedding. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we were
now you just took it to a whole nother
in Trinidad of all places.
Now, boom,
bam! I am like a celebrity now.
You were losing.
Nobody who listens to the show knows who they are.
You were losing points with this. We went on tour with them, but me and my wife just followed them to 3 venues. But then you're speaking at the wedding in another country.
Yeah.
Now, did you speak as a friend, or were you some ordained minister?
No,
Is this something
they
we don't
said,
know
"Hey,
about?
David, say a few words."
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you did one of those things where you filled out a form and became a minister.
No, it wasn't that at all.
Just to get to the wedding?
I flew to Trinidad by myself, and I hadn't booked any place to stay. It's definitely a different country.
Interesting.
Yeah. I figured it out when I got there.
Sound
That doesn't sound like me, right? That's a 25-year-old version of me.
Wild,
a long
man.
time ago. Nobody cares, so we're going to move on.
Cool. I like the story.
Thank you.
Cool story, bro.
Sark is saying a lot, which I think his confidence in what he's saying, regardless if you agree with or disagree, says a lot, I think, about what he thinks about his football team. There is and I don't know if arrogance is the right way to phrase it, but there's definitely a little more chippiness and confidence. Did you see what he said yesterday at the Houston Touchdown Club?
About Tech? Or
yeah.
referencing Tech?
Referencing Tech. And this is along with some of the other stuff he said about Ole Miss a couple weeks back.
Basket weaving. He's walked that one back, which I don't think he should have, but he did walk it back. But he said it.
Yep.
He's feeling himself.
There's a team in our state that plays in another conference that has a schedule that I would argue if I played our 2s and 3s, we would go undefeated, and they'll probably make the CFP this year. And then I know that there's been a lot of, well, why don't you schedule them? I think your boy Andy said that, Staples.
Ari's leading the charge. That guy's so...
I understand why you would
He's trying to
schedule
position himself. I mean, it's just so anti-SEC. It's gotten, I think, way over the top. Way over the top. It's become like almost Cannell-like. Texas Tech. All right, let's start with Sark, and then let's go into Texas Tech. To me, I don't think this is as much about Sark, like loving his. I think he does love, like loving his team and saying, "Man, I don't care because I'm going to go win the whole damn thing," and I'm gonna. I just think this is a guy that, because if he talks crap and they don't get there, this is not like Twitter.
Yeah,
he's a head college football coach. Like it's a disaster if they don't make the playoffs, regardless of what he says or what he does say. I think this is a coach that I haven't heard enough people say this. Like, he was questioned a great deal last year, and rightfully so, with like how he handled the whole O-line going into the season, the slow development of Arch with unreasonable expectations placed on him, but they were holding the coach accountable there early in the season, losing that Florida game, close games in the early second portion of the season. And then he righted the ship, and they had a great year, but not great year, they had a great finish. But he was under a lot of scrutiny and criticism last year, coming off of back-to-back playoff berths, back-to-back Final Four berths, a Big 12 championship, and a berth in the SEC title game. So I think what you're seeing is a head coach that has been questioned a great deal in terms of his legitimacy, like as a top-tier, top-flight head coach. And he had to sit back and listen to that all year last year and then finish strong, and now he's in an off season. And yeah, he knows he's got a good team, but it's more about, okay, now you guys are all praising me and my program again, but I haven't forgotten. So now I'm gonna say my piece, because I'm not in season. B, I'm not. It would come off differently if we were underperforming, and I'm saying all these things. Now that we're doing well, now I'm going to say all these things, because whether you like him or not, he is an elder statesman now in
the SEC.
In the SEC, with how much turnover there is, and also one of the bigger name coaches in college football. So I actually don't mind him saying things, and I actually agree. I'm finding myself agreeing with 80% of what he's saying, whether it be in that USA Today article, what he said about Tech. I've said that a million times. I've interviewed Mike Elko, who said a lot of the same things in terms of expanding the playoff versus basically the fix is first, let's just make sure we get the right teams in it. and make sure you guys explain to us exactly what the criteria is. Stop moving the target so we can, what we need to do and have some decent explanations for the why as to these rankings. And that's what Elko and A&M dealt with all season last year, and especially down the stretch. So I think the head coach would agree with a lot of what he's saying. I think most coaches around the sport, and certainly within the SEC, would agree. And I absolutely agree. I don't agree. I think he was going on something about, I didn't agree with his thought process about the NIL and you don't invest as much in some of these younger developmental. I disagree with that, and I think his actions say he disagrees with it as well. I didn't agree with. I think he was talking about Notre Dame, almost making the case why they should have been in over Notre Dame or Miami. I forget who it was. I think it was Notre Dame, but I disagreed with that. But most of what he's saying,
you don't disagree.
He's speaking as a college football coach at a power program in a Power 4 conference, and I think most of them would agree. Now, where he loses some people when you're starting to talk about how exorbitant the NIL is getting and the roster value. So some people go, oh, what are you crying about? You've got a 40. And I don't care what they say in Austin. You guys got some friends that think they're privy to it, and they'll text me, and they always say, no. You're over 40 million. It's okay. It's actually like cap tip, to any team, A&M or anybody that's 40 or up. Yeah. You're one of the halves. So some people will go, well, that's, it's easy for you to say, but I still think coaches like Elko and Sark and everybody except Joey McGuire, who I haven't heard, I have not heard him speak up against the rising roster costs. Lane Kiffin, these guys, it's going to be 50 next year. And I'm not sure, I'm pretty positive somebody's over 50 this year. Whether that's Texas, whether that's Ohio
Oregon.
State. Again, I'm not complaining because I'm pretty sure A&M's going to move up over that. They're either right around or going over that 40 mark. They're like one of the top 5, 6, 7, 3. I don't know, but they're way up there. And somebody's going over 50. And if there's 2 teams or 1 or 2 this year, the next year there'll be 8 of them. And it cannot keep going. And any coach that's not saying that is like, I lose respect for them because they're not fighting the fight that needs to be fought, which is we've got to figure out how to rein this thing in. So if somebody like McGuire's not saying that, then I think that's you're doing a disservice because even for Tech, it's not going to go up, and up. It's just not. And we're hitting, I think, a tipping point. So I agree with a ton of what he said, and I actually absolutely agree with what he said yesterday about Texas Tech. And they can get defensive and they say, well, play us Texas, play us A&M. And okay, first of all, I love how so much of what Longhorn fans are going through now is what I've said for 12 years.
Yeah.
I talked to a buddy of mine a couple weeks ago, and he's like, man, it's just so fun. All these games we're getting at DKR now. Have you seen our schedule and these road trips? And I'm like, yeah, that's what I've been saying. Now we're talking about the Big 12 has such an easier path. And I know it was different with Texas and OU in there, but it was still so much easier than the SEC. And they tried to fight that for so long. And now they're on the other side of it, and they're realizing it. When you go play at Mississippi State, at Kentucky, at Florida when they're down. Like, it's hard. It's really difficult. And you don't get that in the Big 12. And to this day, people are, over there don't understand it. Now Texas and OU fans are really understanding it. Even though Texas has had a lot of success in 2 years, they still are seeing it and getting it. They're seeing their upcoming schedules going, wow, look at that. They're coming to DKR. Oh, wow, look,
Right.
It's a game changer. Now you can look at the Texas Tech schedule and you can understand how cake it is. And they can't control their Big 12 schedule. They tried to not play on a Friday night. They can't control it, but they don't play BYU this year, which is wild. They They don't play Utah, who they played last year, not in non-conference. It's crazy to me to look at that schedule and get too offended by what Sark said, because I think a lot of SEC teams would roll through that schedule undefeated or with one. Arizona State would beat some SEC teams.
Yeah.
Hopefully they don't prove they can come into Kyle Field and win. They lost a lot. They replaced a lot of portal. There's a lot of portal going on there. I think they're going to be dangerous, let's say. They could have had Levitt, Rayleigh Brown.
Right.
I mean, those other two left to be first-round picks. But you look at Tech's schedule, and it's a joke. And they'll say, well, Oregon State canceled on us. It's Oregon State. No, Oregon canceled. Okay, that part you can't control, right? Then they'll say that Mississippi State canceled. Well, they're one of the two worst teams in the SEC, so I don't want to hear that part. So Texas and A&M, play us then. Now the Texas fans realize what I said for all those years when I said it doesn't benefit A&M to play Texas right now. It just doesn't. It helps Texas way more than it does A&M. It doesn't benefit Texas or A&M to play Texas Tech right now. When you're going to 9 SEC games, Texas is playing Ohio State, Michigan, then I think Notre Dame. The Aggies have non-conference scheduled already. Who is it? It's Arizona State and Louisville. I know they're not monsters, but it's still scheduled. You're not going to add a second non-conference game like a Tech. Let's just call it a ranked team. I wouldn't even add the 20th best program or a top 25 team to go with 9 conference games. And it makes zero sense. So my point to Tech fans, and they've got their GM talking on Twitter.
He was all over Twitter.
Cody Campbell. He was also all over every message board.
Yeah.
Before he was working in football, he was on every single fan base message board under an alias. That was his background, which to me is actually kind of cool. It's a real success story. But my point is, he talks. But they're all saying that. But I'm like, you just mentioned, okay, Mississippi State canceled on you. They're one of the 2 worst. You mentioned A&M in Texas. There's 13 other SEC teams. There's an entire Big Ten conference, and there's an entire ACC. Play them.
Yeah.
Throw SMU in there. Like, there's plenty of teams to go out there and fight and try to schedule. Florida State, not even that good right now. Clemson, Miami, Louisville, A&M's playing. Michigan's, Michigan. And I know a lot of these teams are going to say no. I get it. But out of all of them, you can't tell me that when I look at their future home schedules that you just land on that. There's no way. There's no way that it's just about A&M and Texas and they got no one else to play.
When we come back, obviously some baseball, and also want to get to what Kay posted on there about the football operating budget. We'll hit a break on the other side. In today's fast-paced world, Caldwell Country Chevrolet brings that car buying experience right to your fingertips on your phone. Browse their constantly updated inventory online where amazing deals change from month to month. You can find your perfect match, calculate your trade-in value, even start the financing process all from the comfort of your home or your office, wherever you may be. When you shop with them, you're supporting a business that gives back. So if you're ready to experience the difference, make that short drive to Caldwell, and you're going to see an amazing experience. About a 15-minute drive, the edge of Bryan to the beginnings of Caldwell. A short conversation away, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and do business with the good people at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. So we go from Tribe to Bad Bunny. That's a good day here on TexAgs Live. What's next? Cody Johnson. Big Cody Johnson.
That part of your big three? That's your
right
big
now.
three?
That's right now what I've been listening to. I put Kanye on there as well. All right, let's talk a little baseball. We've got obviously with Florida kind of surging. The conversation is A&M needs to win tonight just to feel better about where they are. And if Florida keeps winning this, they're going to be a problem. But if A&M beats Auburn tonight, it puts them in a much better position where you can breathe a little bit easier.
Yeah, I mean, we're at the time of year where everyone wants to act like they know what they're talking about. And even the ones that should don't. We're proving that every single year, or even the experts they're just wrong because you're not in the mind of the committee. And I'm not talking about the day before when you have a little source that's going to tell you, okay, this is what it looks like. I'm talking about now, several days before, with a lot of moving parts still. So everyone's scared of Florida, everyone's scared of Alabama, Auburn. They're assuming there's no way you finish above Alabama, no way you finish above Auburn, and damn, here comes Florida. So right now I've got A&M as what, the 10th seed, and who knows what other teams do. Hell, we might end up seeing them at number 14 by the time it's all said and done. I completely disagree with that, but I do think there's an actual conversation to be had for A&M right now as can they hang on to an 8? Can they play their way up to a 7? You know, I see Alabama right there. They're not going to go past Texas. I see Alabama and Auburn there. Alabama just got their ass kicked.
Yeah, they did.
They got pummeled. If A&M can beat Auburn, you look at those three teams right there, and obviously Florida right there at 10 is surging, right? You look at those teams, and to me, if you beat Auburn on the night after Alabama got pummeled, and then you get a crack at either Texas or Arkansas, right?
Yep.
That's going to help you a lot too. So, I mean, if A&M wins one and Florida loses their next one, I still think A&M will get in. I still think so. I don't think. What did Florida truly gain from beating Vandy? They gained from last night.
Yep.
And if that's the only gain they have, and A&M beats Auburn, and then they both play, Florida would play Georgia, A&M would play Texas or Arkansas. I think if they both lost that. What you don't want is to lose tonight and see Florida beat Georgia, even if much less if they win it, because that could be problematic for you.
Yeah,
and it can be. It doesn't mean it will be. I think if Florida runs it, it will be a problem.
Yeah,
but I want a super regional here in the worst way. If it doesn't happen, I believe Texas A&M can. I believe Texas A&M can get there on the road. I mean, hell, look at the team we're just now talking about, Florida. They went on the road and won 2 or 3 against them. They can do that. This lineup, this team at their best, can go slug it out and do that. It's just going to be exponentially harder without this crowd behind you. But you see home teams lose super regionals all the time, every year. It happens fairly regularly. I'm more concerned with seeing who A&M's regional is, because by the same token, they're far from a lock to get out of any of these regional projections I've seen. I mean, the Aggies are going to have to play great baseball. So I'm just not as worried about looking ahead, other than selfishly wanting to see some more postseason baseball.
I prefer the easiest path, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
You're going to have to play 2-3 really good teams here. And
some of these teams could lose their own regionals as well. Like Florida's not. They're playing really well right now. They're not a juggernaut, unbeatable team. Same thing with everybody thought Georgia last year, and Georgia didn't get out of their super. The year before that, they didn't get out of their own regional. They were really good. We can go up and down the list. Look at Texas last year, UTSA. So you don't even know. You might be the 10 seed playing the 7 and host a super regional. I mean, because none of those teams this year, I don't think, are like truly dominant outside of UCLA, and I don't know enough about Georgia Tech coming through like a weakened ACC, but there's nothing up there in that 3 to 8 range that you go, man, they're just going to roll their way right to a national title. They're going to roll to Omaha unchecked. I don't think any of those teams you would say that about. Alabama's never, under Rob Vaughn, they've yet to make it out of a region. So I'm just not as worried about that. I'm also not as emotional about it because you can make a case for a lot of these teams. I would like to think if it came down to an A&M or in Florida and the room sitting there deliberating it and the numbers say it's really close, I think winning a series against said team, but especially if you're the road team that goes in and wins it. So like if you were to put A&M and Auburn at the finish line and the Aggies beat Auburn, say tonight, and you're going, well, they're 2-2 against each other, I would still go, yeah, but if it was dead ass even, or so even that it was like, I would say, well, they came into Blue Bell and won 2 out of 3 against A&M. And there's something to be said, too, for the fact that the Aggies finished ahead of them in the standings, both those teams, but they don't seem to factor that in.
All right, we'll hit a break. We'll come back with a final short segment. It's TexAgs Live. Till You Can't, Cody Johnson.
Great song.
Fantastic song. Billy, all right, we got 2 minutes. Who is due for a big weekend?
Due, or who do I think is going to have one? I think.
How about both? Let's answer both.
I think Gavin Grohovic is dialed in. Like, I just think this is his third SEC, or it's not his third.
Second.
It's his second SEC tournament. I'm not mistaken, I think he hit a home run there last year, the last time he played there, and they were 0-2. I think that the nature of these teams that are in it are such that everyone's competitive energy is going to be way up when you look at the last 6 teams in it. Texas, Arkansas, A&M, Auburn, Georgia, Florida. Like, you look at those teams left, and it's like, okay, these are outside of probably, I guess, Mississippi State. These are the best teams in the conference throughout the year. Like, this is a real tournament now that it's turned into. So you would love, and again, it's not overly taxing to keep playing. It's a normal 3-game series for these teams if you can do it. So I think they're going to be super jacked up. And if that's the case, give me Grahovec all day. If I'm talking about a secondary pick there, I'm going to go with a Bear Harrison
again
weekend.
All right,
Bear
let's go.
Carries it over. He tends to, when he's running hot, he's running hot. I'm going to go with the catcher. I think he's going to have a big series, big weekend at the plate. If they can get by this game, I think they win it.
Thank you, Billy. That's going to do it for TexAgs Live here on a Friday. We'll see you guys on Memorial Day. We'll do a show on Monday. Have a great Memorial Day weekend. We'll talk to you then.